Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to the virtual America's Home for Racing Charlotte Motor Speedway with the Challenger Cup Series playoffs, race number 2. The first cutoff race of the season for the Challenger Cup Series is live from NASCAR's backyard, Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're just about ready to get underway. Cars are getting on the grid. The playoff field tonight gets cut from 16 to 8. And I cannot wait to get into this one. 160 laps. It's our longest race of the season. It's NASCAR's longest race of the season this past Sunday in the Coke 600. What a race that was. I expect much the same here tonight in the Challenger Cup Series. The playoffs are the main storyline tonight. Harold Watkins, nothing to worry about for the 3-car. He'll start 11th on the grid here tonight with not much to his credit to race for. He won last week in North Wilkesboro. He has locked a spot in the next round by virtue of his finish. A couple other drivers, 4 other drivers, make it 5 that are 15 or more points above the cut line. And we'll get this graphic off the screen as we get underway on the grid. A couple other drivers above the cut line, we'll tell you about those as the night goes on and as the playoffs become more and more of a storyline. Let's get to the starting grid for playoff race number 2 here in the Challenger Cup Series. On the pole with a lap of 29.576 seconds, Matt Hayden coming in tonight, second in the playoff points. Alongside him, was supposed to be Travis Everett in the 13. The 13 has not yet taken the grid. In fact, he will pit start tonight. Row 2, GT Urziri in the 14, John Velocity in the 84. a couple of other drivers in the playoffs looking to stay there here tonight. Row 3, Curtis Preston, nothing to race for in terms of points, but love to get a good finish and maybe even a win. And Cody Eldred makes a start tonight in the 10 machine. He'll start outside of row number 3. He may have also missed the grid. Nope, he is on the grid as well back there in that 6th position. Row 4, Stephen Luttrell in the 36 on the inside, and on the outside it's Christian Strader, a man with a lot to race for tonight after missing last week's race. Row number 5, Justin Malarkey, James Coytrone, another pair of playoff drivers. Row 6, Harold Watkins, locked in last week in North Wilkesboro, and Greg Bourbonier looking to continue his playoff run as well. Andrew Little on row 7, another playoff driver, along with Rusty Modesty. They'll have to drive through the field if they want to stay in the playoffs tonight. Steve Potter and Brandon Beauchamp will line up 15th and 16th, with Mike Martino rounding out a 17-car field. Playoff racing from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's cut the field from 16 to 8. Green flag is in the air. We are underway for Challenger Cup Series racing from Charlotte. Lap 1 in the books, and it's John Velocity that will go to the point for the opening laps of tonight's race, with Matt Hayden trailing him, the pole sitter, and then it's Cody Eldred out back of them, with Irizarry settling into the 4th position. Cody Eldred +3 already. Let's tell you a little bit about the playoff scenarios tonight. That's going to be the big storyline after race 1. Harold Watkins locked in by virtue of a win last week in the foothills of North Carolina. Matt Hayden and GT Irizarry come into tonight 22 points above the cut line, and stage points will certainly help those as well tonight. The stage coming about lap 40 of tonight's race. John Velocity, the man leading the race, 18 points above the cut line as of the start of tonight's race. Travis Everett comes in 17 points above the cut line, which at this point is Steve Potter. Travis Everett 5th in points. He pit started. He's got a little bit of work to do here. 17 points, not a super guarantee. Some guys underneath him have some good stage runs. Andrew Little 16 points above the cut line. He's pretty well in a decent position, barring a couple drivers below him. Justin Malarkey is only 8 points above the line, though, and right now, starting back where he did, he's dropped 3 spots. He's 12th. The danger zone right now is Justin Malarkey in terms of points for guys behind him. The driver on the line is James Coytrone, 4 points above the cut line tonight, coming into tonight's race, and would be bumped if one of those drivers below him were to win tonight's event from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Out on track, battle for the lead. Matt Hayden to the inside of John Velocity. Special patriotic paint scheme on board the 84 Velocity. Nice looking colors aboard that race car. Hayden looking to get the lead from him on the bottom. Multi-groove racing expected throughout the course of the night. Hayden on the inside, Velocity on the outside. Irizarry can't decide which line he wants to take. Chooses to go with Hayden on the inside. It will give Hayden a bit of a benefit, and Matt Hayden will go to the lead for a split second. Velocity trying to get back to his right rear. No dice. Matt Hayden to the race lead. Lap 5 as a big pack develops here towards the front of the field. Velocity takes another look, almost some contact there with the 5 car. 84 back to the bottom, Hayden to the middle of the racetrack. We saw this on Sunday night, the Coca-Cola 600. Guys ran multiple lines throughout the night, and you saw at the end of the race, it was the bottom that prevailed as Ross Chastain made the race-winning pass with 6 laps to go on William Byron. So right now it's Hayden, Irizarry, Velocity. Up on the outside it's Eldred, and Schrader has been ripping the fence early in this race. One of the first drivers to go to the wall. We'll see if that comes in a little later in the night. Back to the playoffs, Coytrone is 4 points above the line, and as of tonight, he would need to finish better than the following drivers who are below it. Steve Potter, 4 points below the cut line as of right now, running 14th. That's a good sign for Coytrone so far in the Oscar Mayer Chevrolet. Jimmy Fitzmaurice, not in the field tonight, will end his playoff run in that 33 machine. Greg Bourbonier is 11th in the points, 11 below the cut line. He needs a really good run, and currently 13th. Needs some stage points and needs some things to go his way in the race. Brandon Beauchamp, 12 points below the line in the 12th position. Stephen Luttrell, 14 points below the line, runs 8th on the racetrack in this lead draft. He likely needs to win or get some stage points and then get a good finish. Ooh, John Velocity pounds the outside wall right there, but no harm, no foul, able to drive off of it. And here are the guys that basically need to win. Christian Strader did not race last week at North Wilkesboro. 21 points below the line. He needs to win tonight at Charlotte in order to continue his incredible season. Second in the points coming into the playoffs currently, 21 points below the line. Hunter Carlson in the 32, also not in the field tonight. His playoff run will end at 31 points below the line. And then the final driver is Rusty Modesty. Currently on track, Rusty is up 4 spots to 10th, but needs to win to keep his season alive. 34 points below the line. We'll keep an eye on the points throughout the night as we go throughout this race, and I'll try my best to keep you updated on who's where and who is running in or out of a playoff position. Matt Hayden leads 10 up and down already here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Again, this is our longest distance race, I'm almost positive, of the season. We'll go nearly 300 miles tonight. We'll go 240 miles here at Charlotte, which is one of our longest races of the season, just over a third of the race distance at America's Home for Racing. Again, 600 miles on Sunday night, and we will follow the NASCAR schedule. Tonight we cut the playoff field down to 8 drivers after it has been 16, and now the racing really gets tight. The margin for error gets even smaller, leaving tonight and heading to the Music City, Nashville, Tennessee next week, back down towards my neck of the woods for playoff race number 3 in the round of 8. Good to see everybody in the chat tonight. Actually getting a full broadcast in. Every lap will be broadcast tonight, which is always good. Good to see everybody. If you want to use the chat, please feel free. Hit the like, hit the subscribe as well. PGR eSports doing big things in 2025. And we're only about 2 months away now from the 2025 PGR SummerSlam 499. I'm hoping to be a part of that event this year. A bigger part maybe even than last year. Can't wait for that event at Talladega over the last weekend in July. That's going to be a lot of fun. Well, a lot of big things going on weekly at PGR eSports as well. That go ahead and hit the subscribe, hit the share button as well. Go ahead and share the link. Playoff racing in the Challenger Cup Series. Share it with your friends. If you got a driver you're cheering for, share the broadcast with them so they can keep up with their favorite driver as well as the race goes on throughout the night. Noticing an absence of a certain driver, that would be Christian Schrader. Unsure what happened to the 29. He may have gotten the wall. Something may have happened to him. Did not catch what that was. If we get a break, maybe at the stage, we'll go back and maybe take a look at what that was. But it's all Matt Hayden up front so far. 14 laps in, all good so far for Hayden and Irizarry, who both came in really good playoff positions. So did John Velocity. The first driver really to me that's not in a surefire playoff position is James Coytrone back in 6th. Coytrone started tonight in 10th. He is up 4 spots to 6th position, and so far showing really good pace. If he can keep it up, Coytrone will make a really nice playoff run here and make a run into the round of 8 and be playoff racing again next week in Nashville. Velocity going to lose 3rd spot. That's Curtis Preston on the move. As Hayden continues to lead, starting to put a little bit of time on Irizarry. It's a couple car lengths now as the field works off turn number 2. The closest battle was for 3rd. Velocity uses that top lane to get around the Curtis Preston machine. Harold Watkins, last week's winner's on the move. He's +4 from 11th to 7th. And Rusty Modesty is up from 14th to 8th. Modesty, the man who has to win, is up into the top 8 already in this race very early before the stage break. Modesty trying to put himself in position to maybe steal one and steal a spot in the round of 8 starting next week. He's up several spots. Malarkey has recovered nicely. Dropped 3 spots early in the race. He's back up to 8th. Another driver looming around that cut line that has to have a good run. So far, so chalk, if you will. Not a lot of guys that need to win or guys that need really good runs up here at the front. The closest, I think, would be Stephen Luttrell, who has now dropped a few spots back to the 11th position. Modesty is really the closest guy, I think, that you could consider would be, that need to win, and he's all the way back in 9th. Hayden feeling some pressure. Irizarry looking for the race lead. He'll dive to the inside here in 3 and 4, but Hayden will utilize this higher line, which has been really good over here on this end of the racetrack. Will Irizarry clear him? For a moment, yes. Did Hayden get back to his right rear? He did. He'll get all the way back around that Motorcraft Ford Mustang and down here in turns 1 and 2. Expect to do the same thing. I'm surprised that Hayden's not pinching a little bit more and driving down the door of Irizarry, but instead choosing to use the momentum of the banking to keep him alongside the 14. It will do just that here down the backstretch. Preston, Velocity, Coytrone, Eldred, watch on as Harold Watkins draws into the attention of the leaders in turn 3. Hayden maintains the lead. Couple guys up on the fence now. Eldred, Coytrone. We saw Schrader try earlier. Must have gotten the fence and that is most likely what had him running back around the 16th position, and he has not been able to get back around any cars since that happened. He's back there around Travis Everett, who decided to pit start. Everett not in a horrible points position as they run on the racetrack right now, because no one that will get stage points that will threaten his coming into tonight what was a 17-point lead just on raw points with the race. He cannot be eliminated tonight, so it would have to take a stage points from someone like a Steve Potter, a Greg Bourbonier, a Brandon Beauchamp, a Stephen Luttrell, that at this point are not currently slated to get stage points. So looks like all good for Travis Everett. Maybe he realized that and said, I'm going to start in the pits and kind of better my chances here, and we'll see how it goes. Oh boy, Hayden, big lift there, had to stay off the wall. Irizarry going to take advantage. Will he get all the way to the lead? Not quite. Will he clear him? Yes, he will. New leader in Charlotte. It is Irizarry, but some pace here for Curtis Preston. And really nice pace for Preston. He's up to second. Started fifth. He's up to P2, but Hayden trying to rally back on the outside with the help of Velocity on the outside with that draft. Irizarry comes down, blocks Preston a little bit. Maybe gives him a little bit of air toe. Hayden will run that top lane, though. Preston, big lift off the bottom, and Hayden will maintain second for now behind Irizarry. Velocity runs fourth. Coytrone up to fifth now. He's gotten around Eldred. James Coytrone showing some pace here early at Charlotte Motor Speedway. On the cut line tonight, not in any current real danger of being eliminated with the guys behind him in points, running behind him on the racetrack. The guy I would watch out for of that group, and this is no offense to anybody else, but Christian Schrader, again, was second in points, and just by virtue of missing last week's race, has to win now tonight, and he runs now in the 14th position, and he's making his way back through the field. So for Coytrone, maybe you see that and think, look, I want to put myself in a position where if it comes down to it, I can win the race and get myself in and not worry about Christian Schrader in the 29 or any of these guys really that have to win tonight, or even that are below him in the points that don't have to win. A Steve Potter, a Greg Bourbonier. Remember, back at Kansas a few weeks ago, Hunter Carlson was able to stretch fuel and win a race that realistically he did not have the pace to win. He was not the fastest car on the racetrack that night at all at any point in the race. Look for the lead. Here comes Curtis Preston. Velocity is there as well. But going back to Carlson, he was not the fastest car in that race, and he stretched fuel to win. That could very easily occur again tonight. No doubt in my mind that someone tonight could stretch fuel or call a strategy and end up going to victory lane that maybe is not the fastest car and maybe even more is outside the bubble looking in. Battle for the lead. Preston on the outside. Irizarry trying to defend on the inside. Velocity goes with him. Will he look three wide? Nope, he'll choose to push. Now he'll take a dive. Velocity to the inside. He was trying to get out of the air of the cars in front of him. Hayden runs fourth. Coytrone back in fifth. And Watkins settles nicely into sixth, but he's got some heat on his bumper. Justin Malarkey, a guy trying to come forward. Knows points are on the line. Cody Eldred not in the race for him in terms of points. Andrew Little not in a super short position, but 16 points above the line. In a better position to race his way forward. And Rusty Modesty, a guy who has to win. They're all in the bumper of the points leader right now, Harold Watkins. And Coytrone has made his way back into this battle as Schrader is up another 2 spots. He's up to the 12th position. And one thing I noticed from Christian Schrader, it's really interesting, over the course of multiple races that I've gotten to watch him in, he may not have a good qualifying effort, or he may not be a pole sitter, he may not qualify second, but over the course of races he learns. You can tell, you can see him picking stuff up and actively getting faster. And I think that's where he finds an advantage over a lot of guys. And so far tonight, you're seeing it in real time. He has gained almost 2 seconds on the leader since he had that issue back several laps ago. And he's up several positions. We're now at the stage break. He's going to be in a very competitive spot where he could very easily race his way back into this lead draft. In fact, he's catching cars in front of him still. Curtis Preston to the race lead. Not a playoff driver tonight, and I'll apologize. I meant to mark the playoff drivers with a color on the ticker, and I completely forgot at the stage break. I may try to do that. I may try to fool with it and at least like color their names or color the boxes and just kind of see what I can do with that in terms of actively highlighting the playoff drivers so that you understand who is racing for what. in tonight's race. Battle for the lead. John Velasquez in the 84 to the inside. Took a lunge at Curtis Preston. Not able to get there quite yet, though. Christian Schrader up to 12th and gaining a lot of time. He's going to pass probably at least one, maybe two more cars before the stage break and have a chance to get some spots back on pit road with an 8th place pit box. Oh, big hit in the outside wall for here. Zeri Malarkey, Watkins both got it as well. And this battle back here, this battle is starting to get really good back here around the Harold Watkins machine. This is a 5-car hornet's nest as they all kind of battle each other. Watkins just trying to hold on for dear life to a few of these spots. Watkins, again, no worries for him. He has locked himself in to the next round. And again, at the stage break, if I can get it to where I can actually highlight him in a different color, we'll actually highlight that he's a winner. But he did win last week at North Wilkesboro. He's locked in. But everybody else that's in the playoffs, not so much. And you see the aggression level. Modesty, Malarkey, Little, all 3 playoff guys that are not locked in. I want good runs here tonight. Little is just beating the back bumper off the 3-car right now. 73 is trying to find a line. Little finally gets one and gets to the inside, but Watkins pinches. Can Little get on his door off too? They're going to make some contact here. A little bumping and banging for that 6th position as Andrew Little jumps to the inside of the Ghost Chevrolet. Malarkey will follow Watkins for now. I'm a little surprised, and you see this sometimes in the next-gen car, a little more contact. Oh, man, we're getting feisty back here for the 6th position. I'm a little surprised that Malarkey hasn't tried to jump outside the 3. Watch him come down right here. He gets down in the middle, almost to the bottom. I'm surprised Malarkey hasn't tried to hang a right and get around the outside to grab the right rear quarter panel of the Harold Watkins machine. Little completes the pass. Watkins crosses over, but now Little is in a favorable position in terms of this corner, but Watkins drove it in deep. Little's able to fend it off. Now Malarkey, and now the train may come on through because Watkins no longer in the high line. Harold Watkins stuffs it on the nose of the 73. Malarkey crosses over. This is the battle for now 7th position involving playoff drivers who are in a more desperate points position in terms of Malarkey and Modesty than the guys up in front of them. Oh, man, Watkins, oh, man, just knocking down the fence on the exit of turn number 2. That's going to allow Rusty Modesty into this battle. It's going to allow Travis Everett into this battle. And lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to allow Christian Schrader into this battle. And I'm telling you, keep an eye peeled for the 29 Reese's Dark Horse. I'm telling you, he will be a factor in tonight's race. He's a 1.5 mile winner already this season. He won back-to-back races earlier in the season, and he nearly had 3 wins to equal Harold Watkins when he almost won the Darlington Raceway event several weeks back, lost it on fuel strategy. This continues to be a battle. It's cooled off. Travis Everett, though, is starting to make his way forward. Now, again, tonight, 17 points above the line. Not a surefire elimination spot. He actually started from the pit road. That's why he's so far back, qualified, I believe, in the 4th position. But decided to start from pit road now, making his way up. He's looking for the 9th spot on Cody Eldred. He's made his way halfway through the field. Up front, battle for the lead. We'll take a break from that group back around that 9th position because the battle for the lead is underway, and John Velasquez is going to complete the pass. And let me tell you this, John Velasquez a season ago was in the Final Four. He ran at Phoenix for a championship. And this season, really, to me, at times, he just has not shown that kind of speed. Now, he did get a win a few weeks back to kind of break the streak. This year went a long time without winning, a guy that won multiple races last season and figured to win multiple this season. I remember, looking back at Coda and, races like that in the road courses, I figured that we'd be talking about multi-time winner John Velasquez. He's only won once. But tonight showing seriously good race pace and now takes the lead away from Curtis Preston as Irizarry will follow him through to the 2nd position. 4 to go, I believe, until the stage break. I'll double-check that for you all and make sure I have that information correct. And it will be the conclusion of lap 40. So 4 to go in stage 1. Preston crosses over. That's for 2nd. Matt Hayden rides 4th. Coytrone, this would be a big stage point for him. Just in terms of, 1 point's not a huge deal. Coming into tonight, he was only 4 points above the line. He could make that gap 5. And that would be a huge boost for a guy that really could use it tonight. The battle for 2nd continues. That battle back around Watkins has mellowed out just a little. The guy I want to highlight, Christian Schrader, as he looks for a spot in the top 10. He could get to 9th, theoretically, before this stage ends, And if he gets inside the top 10, I'm telling you, he will be a factor. And what a storyline we could introduce to this race. Our first real shake-up to the playoff field if Strader is able to complete what will be an improbable run back to the front in tonight's race. He looks to the outside of Modesty. He's gotten around Watkins now. 2 cars left to pass to get back up to that 9th spot, which is about where he was before the incident occurred. Up front, Velocity driving away. Irizarry is driving away from Preston. 4th is pretty well decided. James Coytrone is trying to close in, but not a lot there. And Travis Everett, actually, he qualified 2nd tonight, but did start from the pit lane. And in the course of the last 39 laps, came off after the field took the green. So you got to understand, when you pit start in iRacing, you start after the field takes the green. So when the green lights turn on and when the flag waves, you can then leave your pit box at pit speed, come all the way out. You got to exit pit road. You've got to blend on the backstretch, and then you can gas up and get to race pace. Travis Everett did that and has driven his way almost inside the top 5 for stage points. Now, he will not get there, but the fact he's even close is a testament to this drive. Travis Everett is a man on a mission. He was the 2nd fastest on short run speed in qualifying. He'll get all the way to 6th, but it is John Velocity who wins stage 1 from Charlotte Motor Speedway. The others getting points. GT Irizarry gets 4 stage points. Velocity gets 5. Irizarry gets 4. Preston will get 3. Matt Hayden will get 2, which essentially, I mean, he was already pretty much locked in anyway. And James Coytrone gets 1 huge stage point to put him 5 points above the cut line. Updated points after stage. Velocity now 23 above the line. GT Irizarry now 26 above the cut line. Matt Hayden is now 24 above the cut line. And Coytrone is now 5 above the cut line with the caution flag out after stage number 1. We are going to take a break. I'm going to see if I can't highlight these guys, the playoff drivers, if you will, in a different color so you understand who's racing for what in terms of tonight's race. We're going to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back from Charlotte Motor Speedway. You're watching Challenger Cup Series action, playoff race number 2, the cutoff, here at the America's Home for Racing.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. Three by 3. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run! Ladies and gentlemen, the monkey is prime!
This season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time! Oh, that's good.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Back live from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and as much as I tried, was unable to figure it out, but here's what I'm going to do. We're going to compromise, as we much do here on the PGR eSports Network sometimes. I will continue to just keep you informed. Now, I will tell you right now that most of the drivers here in tonight's field are playoff drivers. The only drivers tonight who are not in the playoffs in any way, shape, or form are Mike Martino running 17th, 1 lap down, Curtis Preston in the 12, who currently runs 4th on the outside of row 2, and Cody Eldred in that black and brown camo yellow machine that's back there running outside of James Coytrone in 8th. Those are the only 3 cars tonight that are non-playoff cars. So everyone else besides the 12, they're on the left side of your screen, the 10 of Cody Eldred, and the 75 of Mike Martino. None of the rest of the guys are non-playoff drivers. Everyone else in the field is a playoff car and has something, big or small, to race for tonight. Stage 1 of the books. Stage 2 coming up from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Green flag going to go back in the air, and John Velocity launches, and off we go once again. Big launch for Velocity. 3, 4 car lanes here down into turn number 1. Irizarry will now hold off the Hornet's Nest behind him from second on back. Battles for third, Hayden and Curtis Preston. Then from there, it's Coytrone, Little, Everett, Eldred. Strader dropped all the way to 12th on that cycle of pit stops. 116 to go until we cut the field to 8, and after this race, we'll have a good metric of who is in that top 8. In fact, we pretty well know who about the top 6 are going to be at this point in time with after stage points especially. Coytrone on the move. James Coytrone, I'm telling you, he's got something here. Maybe not for John Velocity. That 84 car is really, really sporty tonight. But he may have something up all the way up to second. And if that's the case, this is going to be a huge run for that 38 machine. Travis Everett's in the top 5 as well in the 13. Pretty well locked in after the stage points, or after the result last week especially. But looking to continue his run into the top 8. So we'll watch for him. Strader is the man I'm watching tonight, though, in this 29. One of the fastest, if not the fastest car on track. Late run in the first run towards the stage break. Clean race car, new tires, and now a driver on a mission who has to go to victory lane in tonight's race. Now 22 points below the cut line. And James Coytrone, 3 wide to the inside. Look at this move for Strader, and this is vintage. Christian Strader, that dominant run early in the season, all the way up until Darlington. This is the form we expect out of the 29, and now he's a man on the move. Up to 8th position where he started tonight's race in and trying to continue to go forward. Travis Everett's on the same frame of mind. He looks to the outside of Irizarry. He already got around Coytrone for 4th. He'll get 3rd down the backstretch. He'll try for 2nd into 3. He'll get blocked by Matt Hayden in 2nd, but Hayden opens the bottom, and here comes Everett. Travis Everett, a monster run to the front. He pit started tonight's race, and now looking for the lead on lap 49. Velocity leads. Everett, Hayden, side-by-side for 2nd. Side-by-side for 4th. Irizarry and James Coytrone. Side-by-side for 6th. It was Preston and Eldred. Preston takes the spot. Eldred able to hang alongside. And don't look now. Strader is there. Christian Strader to the battle here in the lead 8 cars. And now he'll look for 7th on Eldred and try to begin what would be an improbable second race, but an all too familiar spot for a guy like Christian Strader. When he needs to win, typically he can get the job done. On the outside, Hayden was able to get back around Everett and get to the right rear quarter panel of Velocity. Matt Hayden looks for the race lead. If this race comes down to a shorter run, I think John Velocity's the best on a long run, but if this race comes down to a shortish run, Matt Hayden's got some serious fire underneath that Oakley Chevrolet, the pristine auction machine, shall I say. Or no, excuse me, not pristine auction, it's Fanatec. I was close. He's got good short run speed tonight. Irizarry, Velocity, I think, are the best 2 long-run cars, maybe Travis Everett and Christian Strader as well. But Matt Hayden is a really good short-run car. A couple others that are as well. James Coytrone's really good on the short run also as we get to the deeper stages of tonight's race. Next time by 109 laps to go, and now we begin the process of waiting for a pit stop. And I'll tell you, no pit stops in stage 1 means to tell me we can go at least 40 laps on gas, which means there are only 2 green flag stops required in this entire race. I'd imagine the first will be sometime just after lap number 80. The second will be sometime after lap 120 for a total of 160 laps split here this final stage into 3 different fuel runs. Matt Hayden, 3 car lengths. Over the battle for second is Irizarry and Velocity. Oh, man, make some contact. Coitron going to push the 14 on through. Irizarry to second. Coitron looks for third on Velocity. Everett looks for fourth, and all of a sudden, the 84 has gone behind the 8 ball for one of the first times all night. He started on the pole. He led a bunch of the first stage. He won the first stage, but now kind of behind the 8 ball just a little bit as Hayden goes to the race lead, and Irizarry follows him through. Excuse me, Hayden started on the pole. Velocity started from position number 4. But he did lead a lot of the first stage and capture the stage win as well. Hayden is the leader. Coitron looking for third position, and he's gone up to the fence. And there's a few guys now that have gone all the way to the fence trying to make that line work. Later in the run, I think it does. Early in the run, not quite as much. You're able to stick the bottom a little bit better. And right now, you see Velocity taking advantage of that, but Coitron coming down a little bit, starting to pinch, and that's going to provide some side force and give him a little bit of a run down the back straightaway. Irizarry, a car length off of Matt Hayden, trying to challenge him for the lead. Further back, Coitron, Velocity, battle for third. Battle for fifth is Preston. And Travis Everett as Strader looks for a way around. He lost a spot for a moment to Rusty Modesty and Cody Eldred as he tries to get those spots back now from the 9th position. Once he has track position, you want to talk about man on a mission. That 29 is by far on the biggest mission that I've seen. And he has to be, because he's really one of the about 3 or 4 guys that has to win. At this point in time, with a stage point there for Coitron, that will put him 15 points above Stephen Luttrell. I would now categorize Stephen Luttrell in the has-to-win category. It would take a monumental collapse for Coitron, a crash most likely, and then a really good run for Luttrell. He'd pretty much have to run second, and at this point have Coitron finish dead last in order for him to have the points. Cars in the wall again. Eldred, Everett, Strader, all got in trouble. Around goes Travis Everett. He's going to come back up the racetrack. The 13 slides into the corner, and a big moment here for a playoff driver. Now, again, after the stage, he was not able to get points, but he was 17 points above the cut line, so pretty well in, unless anybody got big stage points behind him, which at this point, nobody will. Now, the interesting part could be in the fact that Coitron is running up front. Malarkey was running up front. Andrew Little is running 9th, so you got to start to be worried now. If you were to finish 16th or 17th, and you get a guy like, get a new winner, and you get guys behind you that don't finish, or that finish better, you could be in a dangerous position. But for Everett, looks like he got away pretty lucky from this one, all things considered. I don't think anybody hit him. I was trying to come back to this. This was the battle for, at the time, the 5th position with he and Preston. Everett knocks the wall off of 2, but somehow here ends up down on the apron. Oh, Curtis Preston, does he try to clear up? Well, he kind of did, but Everett's coming down a little bit, and they have some net code. Boy, that was close for John Velocity. That was almost disaster for the 84. Everett locks it down. I thought for a second he was going to keep it going. He does slide back up. Let's see how close guys get. Oh, man, Stephen Luttrell gets really close. That's actually a pretty big hit to the outside wall. So, little bit more than I thought for Travis Everett there, but still not a lot of damage. These next-gen cars, they can take a beating, and there's a fast repair in the pits as well. So, some help in that regard for Travis Everett. Let's take another look here. You're going to see them make some contact, and watch how close this gets for Luttrell. Oh, boy. I mean, that's as close as it gets. And if Stephen Luttrell is able tonight to salvage a good run, win the race, and make it into the round of 8, remember that moment for the 36, because that is the moment his season was within about 3 inches of potentially coming to an end. Let's go high above. I want to show you this again because I think, well, let's see if the drone cam's any better. It's not. So let's go high above here. And I kind of want to show you what I mean with the 12 and the 13 going down the back straightaway. So I think what Curtis Preston wants to do here, and I wish I had a telestrator that I could show you this, but what Preston wants to do, there's a big gap right there between the 13 and the 10, and if Everett had not hit the outside wall, the 12 would have probably slid right into that gap. The problem is Everett gets into the outside safer barrier, and it stops his momentum down the backstretch. And then when the 12 tries to judge that gap, the 13 no longer has a run. He's trying to fit in the hole. The hole never really opened up. and Preston took the spot anyway. I think by the time he realized it was too late, they have a little bit of netcode, they have a little bit of contact, and it's on from there. And Everett, I mean, is as lucky as he can get. He did not get a ton more damage in this. Does have some front-end damage that will have to be addressed. But 17 points above the cut line is a lot more secure of a position than it could be for Travis Everett. Again, if James Coitron was in that spot, we'd be talking about total disaster. For Everett, you have plenty of room to fix it, get back out on track, and salvage it. And that's exactly what Travis Everett has done. All right, 100 laps to go in a couple laps. It's going to be actually 101 to go when we go back green. Almost halfway home in this one from Charlotte. And it's Matt Hayden up front with Christian Strader second, Rusty Modesty, and Brandon Beauchamp on row number 2. Beauchamp, another one of those drivers that is 13 points below the cut line. It's not impossible right now for him to point his way in, but a win would be his easiest path. He'll line up 4th, and then it's Andrew Little, Cody Eldred on row number 3. It's GT Erzuri and Stephen Luttrell on row 4, and Greg Bourbonier needs a good run tonight, and John Velocity, who led a bunch of laps, now finds himself way back there in the 9th position. It's Hayden and Strader and Modesty, and if you're familiar with my older content with these three, this happened a lot. These three know each other very well. So does Cody Eldred. How do they handle this restart? Green flag, 101 laps to go from America's Home for Racing. Hayden off and running. This is a dangerous, precarious position for these guys to be in, especially if your name is James Coitron right now, because all of a sudden Hayden leads, but he's got 2 must-win drivers behind him running 2nd and 3rd. Now, I expect the 84 Velocity and the 14 of Irizarry to come back to the front, but Strader has shown a lot of pace, and now he's got track position as well. Oh, man, Brandon Beauchamp up into the outside safer barrier. I expect those guys to get back to the front, but Strader now clears for 2nd. He's got track position, and he's got clean air, and this is very dangerous here for the field, including James Coitron. We could be looking at a points race now between Coitron and Malarkey if Strader is able to get to the lead, because I'm not sure how easy it will be for him to give it up. Stephen Luttrell is up to 7th. Brandon Beauchamp battling for 5th right now. Strader to the fence. He's trying to rubber in that outside lane. So far, not doing as much, but now it's slowly getting better where that fence line is starting to work, and that's where he wants to be able to run, is up on the fence. Less traffic, cleaner air, more of an exit run. It's vintage, it's trademark Christian Strader to run up against the outside retaining wall, and he's doing so right now, and it's working for him. Closes all the way to the back bumper of the race leader. Down the back straightaway and headed for turn number 3. Matt Hayden still over Strader, but not for long. For the lead as they reach turn 3. Christian Strader in a must-win position. To the point at Charlotte, Modesty will try to follow him through. 63 will go on the board. 98 laps to go at Charlotte, and the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups Mustang Dark Horse looks to set sail and steal away a playoff bid here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now, he's still got a long way to go. Hayden and Modesty battle for 2nd. Velocity, Irizarry have been the 2 best long-run cars on the Speedway, but I think that Christian Strader has been right there with them. Modesty runs up the Speedway. Hayden has to lift. Strader sets sail and starts to drive away. Boy, oh boy, could you imagine not racing in North Wilkesboro last week and somehow, some way, making an appearance in the round of 8 by virtue of a win. He put himself in a tough points position. Obviously had a good reason to miss last week's race, but still put himself in a precarious position in terms of points tonight where he had to go win the race. He had to be the guy that went to victory lane, and so far so good. He's gotten to the point and now can try to drive away and set sail. Try to get himself into the round of 8. 96 to go at Charlotte. The field is spread back out once again. Strader, Hayden, Modesty, Irizarry, Velocity. The top 5 on the Speedway. Good racing back around Travis Everett, who's recovered already from the crash. He's back up to 6th, battling with Cody Eldred. Velocity and Irizarry are back up to 4th and 5th after starting back around 10th and 9th, respectively. For now, Strader leads. 95 laps to go. We are almost halfway home from Charlotte. We are 15 laps from halfway, and the storylines start to get very, very interesting. And here's why. All of a sudden, and I'm not sure why, the speed has departed from James Coitron's car. Why is that significant? If the race were to end as it runs right now on the racetrack, it would be Justin Malarkey getting the final playoff position, and James Coitron be bumped out by virtue of a Christian Strader win. Now, if Matt Hayden or John Velocity or GT Irizarry were to win this race, then Coitron would still be in by the thinnest of margins, but would still theoretically be in for now. But that being said, Steve Potter runs right in front of him and could gain spots still as a guy running behind him in points. Craig Bourbonier was only 11 points behind Coitron. He runs 4 spots in front of him right now. Gets a little bit of chaos, could shift some things. Actually, he's 12 points behind him. Excuse me. Potter is 5 points back, but you get the idea. Schrader continues to lead over Hayden. Now Velocity going to dive in and get third. Modesty falling backwards. He was third. Now he'll be fourth, and now he may be fifth by the time they reach turn 3. Harold Watkins, Travis Everett, Curtis Preston, Cody Eldred trail this lead draft of cars. As we continue to watch this battle up front, we're going to keep it here because now it is playoff significant for guys running back around the 8th position in points. That'd be James Coitron. And for James' sake, I hope he's not watching this broadcast because I doubt that he wants to see that Christian Strader is the man leading the race right now with the amount of points importance that holds for the 38. I mean, I wouldn't be even watching it if I was Justin Malarkey either because he's not exactly in an incredible spot if Coitron's able to find some speed. Strader leads a car length and a half, make it 1 full car length here over Matt Hayden. He'll close all the way actually to the back bumper and go to the outside. As we round lap 70, next time by 90 to go. This one is going by in a hurry. I figured this race would take longer than it actually has. We're running almost half the distance of the Coca-Cola 600 for the lead in 3. Matt Hayden to the inside of Strader. Strader runs the fence, and he'll hold off the advance of the 5 for now. Will they remain side by side? Not quite. Strader maintains the lead. Another challenge surpassed. Irizarry will take advantage, try to jump inside for second. Hayden will now have that outside lane. He'll pinch down a little, but it may be too much here for Irizarry. It's close. Can he clear up? No. Some contact between the 5 and the 14. 3 wide down the backstretch. John Velocity throws it in 3 wide. That's going to allow Hayden to actually clear back to the second position. Irizarry runs up. Watkins almost in the fence. That's all for third behind Hayden. Velocity crosses under. Now it's the 84. The Fuel Fest. Number 84 machine going back to second position. He'll get it from Matt Hayden for the time being, but Hayden again will engage the defenses here in turn number 1. It will not matter. John Velocity back to second. Now we'll hunt for the lead on Christian Strader on lap 72. To the inside. Here comes Velocity. 3 wide by Hayden. That's Watkins in the middle. It's Irizarry on the bottom. Preston and Everett will try to follow him through for the lead in turn 3. Velocity gets it. Strader not able to hang with him. New leader, it's Velocity, and that was a back-to-back power move for the 84 machine. A championship pedigree move for John Velocity. Battle back to the outside. Here comes Strader. Not one to give it up immediately. Velocity runs the middle, and Strader runs that outside fence and will try to hang with the 84. Down the backstretch, Watkins gets third from Irizarry. All of a sudden, some newfound pace for Harold Watkins, the man that won last week in North Wilkesboro. And he tries to get back to the front. He'll look for second on Christian Strader, and all of a sudden, Harold Watkins says, all right, I got some speed. I'm going to go get another win and sweep the first round of the playoffs and perhaps get even more momentum headed into Nashville next week as he begins the round of 8 next week when the racing really becomes a little bit more contentious for the guys that are 1st through 6th in points currently. Strader drops all the way to 3rd. He'll actually drop to 4th, so he's got a good short-run car. I think he's got a good long-run car, too. It's these mid-runs that he struggles with just a little bit. Ooh, you can hear how big that lift is on the entrance of turn number 1 right there. Tires going away already. And that's just about 15 laps into a run. By the way, with that caution with Everett, it now shifts our window for that pit stop from about lap 180 and 120 to 100 and 140. So that last pit stop, it actually is going to favor Strader and Matt Hayden if they can get back to the front at that point in the race. But looking for the lead, it's the points leader. He's won 3 races this season, the only man who's won more than 2, and one of only 2 drivers who's won multiple races. His wins coming at Daytona, last weekend at North Wilkesboro, and at Homestead during the middle of the season in a duel with Matt Hayden. Down the front straightaway, it's now down to 84 laps to go. And the 84 leads. Curtis Preston hanging around in that black and white 12. Good speed for the Challenger Cup Series rookie. Made his first start several weeks ago, I believe, back at Talladega, maybe just before that. Has had some good showings tonight. By far, though, has been his best. Running third right now. Led some laps at Talladega, so I guess you could count that. But in terms of raw speed, he's got a ton of it here tonight. And he's now hounding our points leader for second, Curtis Preston. And I was told this by drivers over the last couple weeks. I was told that Curtis Preston had a lot of raw speed and that just circumstances hadn't really worked out for him this season to get a win in his limited starts. Tonight, so far, they're working out really nicely for him. I was going to say while we catch a lull in the action, because I thought Velocity was going to pull away and kind of set sail in this race. He will not. Watkins and Preston hounding him right on his back bumper, and that's kind of what the draft does. And we saw this Sunday night as well. If you watch the Coca-Cola 600, I got to see it even in real time with with my own eyes being there in person. You can't really drive away. And it was something that William Byron, who led 300 laps in Sunday's race, complained about, that he could block air, and that's what Velocity's been doing as well, by the way. He's been kind of blocking air. Now, it's not as bad in the iRacing simulator as it is in the real-life Cup cars, but you still do have some dirty air effects in this race car on the iRacing simulator. But William Byron complained about it on the radio. He came on and said, look, I can air block him, but I can't drive away. And his car was hooked up. It could run anywhere. It felt like one of those cars that should dominate a race, but because of the draft, because of the dirty air, because of just the way the slipstream works in this car, you just can't get away from the cars behind you, and that's being reflected tonight in this race as well. As Velocity, I think, has the best car on the racetrack. He's just not been able to drive away from the field at any point in tonight's race. So Watkins takes a look for the lead. Now, we talked about Velocity breaking up the air, and I saw somebody note that in chat as well. The last few laps, he's actually gone to the outside, and that's probably to conserve some tire. And really, it's kind of been working for him. Right here, Watkins, this is his best look at the lead. And Velocity may just let him have it. Ooh, don't slide up too quick if you're Harold Watkins, but he will. And the points leader goes to the lead crossover. Velocity back to his left rear quarter panel. Here we go again, down the front straightaway. Velocity will have a dive to the bottom. He'll try to get the lead back. But Watkins, he's been pinching all race. He does so again right there. And that just does not provide any window for the 84 to be able to run up off the corner and be able to fully arc his exit. That's why Watkins runs down on the door of the 84. He's run down on the door of several guys so far tonight. But Velocity hangs with him. GT Irizarry joins the party. How about the Motorcraft Dark Horse? He's up to fourth now, looking for third on Curtis Preston. Travis Everett not far behind. Justin Malarkey's up to sixth. So all of a sudden, Malarkey does not like what he sees with Schrader and Modesty at points running up front in this race. So he's going to go try to compete, and so far, so good for the 73. Schrader runs back in 7th, Modesty 8th, Luttrell 9th, and Eldred 10th. Matt Hayden has come to pit road way early and is just now blending off the racetrack. So an interesting short pit strategy from Hayden. Nobody has yet followed him. Andrew Little actually did as well. The 68, both cars short pitted here. Very interesting. Velocity using the top. Curtis Preston here as well. Velocity will get a nice run down the back straightaway. Got out of the dirty air. Gets right to the back bumper of the 3 and now can decide where he wants to go here in 3 and 4. He will follow him to the bottom of the racetrack. You see that big lift. That's because the car doesn't turn in the center of the corner when you're right in the wake of that car in front of you. So Watkins leads, 76 laps to go at the line, 85 up and down here at Charlotte, and Travis Everett is closing in on this battle. And so is Justin Malarkey. Here comes Velocity to the outside for the race lead. Can't quite get to the right rear quarter panel there and force the hand of Watkins. I wouldn't be surprised to see Velocity go back to the outside here in 3 and 4. He runs a lane off the bottom. That's not quite enough to get out of the wake. Has to lift. And it's Watkins by 2 car lengths off turn 4. Finally, a chance to take a short breath because here comes Velocity again. And he drove it in really deep that time, trying to get the run off the hill, but not going to be able to this time either, as Watkins will slam the door. But finally, a chance to take a breath. Do want to thank the viewers, again, for coming out. I want to thank those of you who used the chat over the course of tonight's race as well. William Luttrell and Are We That Dumb in chat. I want to thank everybody for coming out here tonight. Playoff racing, and it has been a doozy here at Charlotte. I mean, this has been great racing. From the drop of the green flag to right now. Velocity, another drive to the outside. Just not able to get enough run off the corner. He can get to within get within about an inch of the bumper, but he can't get any closer than that on Watkins right now. Another car on pit road. Christian Strader's going to try the short pit here on lap 87 and see if that salvages him any time. He was 4 seconds behind the leader when he came to pit road. We'll analyze what the lap time fall off is. In fact, we can see it in real time. Last lap for the leader, Harold Watkins, was a 30.51. Last lap for Hayden and Little that both came to pit road 8 tenths quicker at a 29.77. In fact, right there, Matt Hayden ran the fastest lap of his race at a 29.64. So Matt Hayden is 9 tenths faster than the leaders, and that's going to pan out. When you see these guys up front come to pit road, you're going to see the difference. Christian Strader was 4 seconds back. If he runs 5 laps at 9 tenths a second faster than the leaders, he's going to overtake them on pit road when these guys come to pit road just because of raw pace. So watch out for this. This short pit strategy, I didn't quite realize how bad the tire fall off was here because in the next gen race car in real life in NASCAR, we didn't see a ton of fall off in terms of wear in the Cup car. We saw heat, and that was kind of the difference. When you came to pit road and put on colder tires, you were able to do more. They weren't as heated up. They weren't as slippery because you were able to do a little bit more with them when they were cold off pit road. Modesty comes off pit road right behind the leaders. Now watch this 6 car right here. If he's able to get around the leaders, or at least these 2 cars behind him on new tires, and that's going to tell the whole story of how this pit strategy, this pit cycle is going to go. I expect the leaders to wait about another 10 laps to come to pit road and make their strategy stop. John Velocity looking for the race lead here on lap 91. Again, I think he and Irizarry have been the 2 best long-run cars, but he just has not been able to get back to the race lead. Now will hang alongside the 3 this time, though, and that's something he wasn't really able to do last time. He was up inside of the 3. This time he'll hang in his left rear quarter, but he'll have to lift on entry, and that allows Watkins to keep the lead. And Curtis Preston to try to come through for second. Actually, he took a look, maybe 3 wide. Does he look to the middle? Nope. Thinks better of it. This is allowing Travis Everett to drive into this battle as well. But I will caution you, as Brandon Beauchamp hits pit road, those guys that short pitted are faster than the leaders. Hayden is a second faster than the race leaders. Oh, almost trouble there with Preston. He has to dive off the racetrack. Look at Rusty Modesty. Look at the 6. He just drove all the way to the leaders. If he can lap past the leaders, he's going to overtake them on pit road because they'll lose more than a full lap to Rusty Modesty, who I think may come out the best among those cars. In fact, he's going to come out the last among those cars. Matt Hayden may take the lead here, and it may not be close. This is really interesting. 3 wide. Travis Everett got all the way to the front. Irizarry gets the lead. Everett goes to second. Velocity gets the wall. 3 wide. Watkins in the sucker hole. Preston goes high. Still 3 wide. Rusty Modesty trying to unlap himself on that different tire strategy that Christian Strader, by the way, is on as well. So is Andrew Little. Modesty gets around the 3, the 84, the 12, the 73. He'll get around the 13, and he'll try to unlap himself. That right there should tell you, look at this. Look at this in turn 1. I mean, it tells the whole story just by looking at it. That is the difference in tires. And folks, Matt Hayden has made up like 10 seconds at this point on the leaders because they are waiting. They are running out their tires. 30.91 for GT Irizarry. Matt Hayden's last lap was a 29.91. That is a full second faster. And we're, at this point, 10 laps into their tire run. They're going to overtake the leaders. You're going to see it happen here. Matt Hayden will. I think Little and Strader both will. Now, Beauchamp and Modesty may not. But I think those 3 cars that came early to pit road are going to overtake the leaders here. And Hayden, I don't think it's going to be relatively close. I mean, Hayden is right here. He may unlap himself under green. Now, here's the trade-off. They will have to pit that early again. But, here's the interesting part. Once they pit again, they pit so late in their own run that they will only have to pit once. So they'll still only be on a one-stop strategy. Now, the trade-off, some of these guys that pit late can take 2 and take less fuel on that last pit stop. They only have to take a half tank. So you may see them do that. You may see some guys take no tires. It's going to provide some opportunities for them to make up that time. But, I mean, Matt Hayden, he has literally made up 15 seconds. And he's going to come out with a big lead. He's up 5 seconds over the guys that have pit. Preston on pit road, Steve Potter on pit road, on lap 97, but the leaders continue to stay out. Matt Hayden's caught them. I mean, this is, if I've done my calculations right, which I think I have, we saw how much time Matt Hayden lost. He lost about a lap and a half. If these guys lose a lap and a half, we're talking Matt Hayden's going to be 10 seconds in front of the field. And he's got to get past the leaders. You see him had to lift right there. He's got to get past the leaders. He'll be able to drive to the inside, or maybe he'll run the fence here in 1 and 2 and try to haul off the fence and get to the inside. He may make a big move here. Nope, going to stay to the outside. Velocity will look for the lead. He'll get it on the backstretch. Steve Potter actually laps in front of the leaders. That's going to be notable as well. Harold Watkins on pit road. Stephen Luttrell on pit road. Hayden through the middle, going to try to make it fit. He's going to get turned. Matt Hayden gets spun on the bumper of the 14 of Irizarry, and he will come back up and bring out a caution. And that is the last thing. Oh, man, he comes back across the track, not going to get collected. And that is the last thing those drivers that had already pit wanted to see. Because now a lot of them are trapped a lap down and will not be able to get their track position back when the whole field comes to pit road under this caution flag. You figure that everybody will. In fact, you know what? If I'm Steve Potter here, I stay out. If I'm one of those guys that just pit, Curtis Preston even, I would stay out. You're only got about 3 laps on your tires. I would stay out and take the lead, or at least cycle to the front of the guys that have already pitted and take the track position here. I would stay out. Everybody from 1st to 5th, everybody that hasn't been on pit road is coming to pit road. But everybody on back from that now, oh man, that is a tough break. Matt Hayden, I think, made the race-winning call, and unfortunately now he sees it kind of go up in smoke for him, and oh man, it's a tough break because they. Now, here's the thing, and we'll talk about this when we come back from replay. Let's watch this one more time. Look, Matt Hayden has to force the issue here. Oh man, wrong camera. Matt Hayden has to force the issue here. If you're the 5 car, you have got to get around the leaders. Like, you don't really have a choice. And as they're coming off turn 4, he makes a big move, and it just doesn't pan out. Irizarry comes up a lane off the bottom, gets into the 5 car, and spins him. You have to do that, though, if you're Matt Hayden, because you've got to get around the race leaders there. You're only going to make up time if you get around the leaders and are able to get about another quarter lap around before they come to pit road, which to me would have been the race-winning call. Without a caution flag, I don't think these guys up front would have been even in the same stratosphere as Hayden, Strader, or Andrew Little. I thought that was the race-winning call, and you have to make that move. I understand from that perspective, if you're Hayden, you've got to go, and you've got to get around those guys, and you feel like you have to make it happen, and you just get a little unlucky. He still has speed that can win the race, and there's an opportunity, and only showing one replay here because I want to talk about the strategy, but there's still going to be an opportunity for Hayden and those guys to do that again. Now, here's the problem. Will these guys around them adjust and pit with them is the worry now. So Velocity and those guys pit. Malarkey, Irizarry, Cody Eldred. Actually, Strader ended up back on the lead laps somehow, I guess. He and Hayden had both gotten back on the lead lap, so that's big for Strader, considering these guys in front of him, to take the wave around, they may be able to get their laps back right here, and if they can, they'll be able to pit. But for Strader, that's huge because he was able to lap back around and get some of his track position back, now be in a competitive position. It's big for James Coytrone. See if they maybe he had some damage he gets fixed. Boy, it's gut punch for those 3 guys that were going to be on the race-winning strategy. And I hesitate to bring this up, and I know he's going to get on me if I do. And those guys are not going to be able to pit. It's all one to go. So there's going to be a significant tire advantage now for everybody back to Christian Schrader. There's going to be about a 5 to 10 lap tire advantage for those guys that are just now off pit road under this yellow. That's Malarkey, Velocity, Eldred, Irizarry, Bourbonniere, Coitron, and Christian Schrader's on pit road currently, rolling out of his box. So 7 cars will be on new tires. Everybody else will be on old tires. So, well, older tires. It's a gut punch for Matt Hayden, and again, I know he's going to get on me if I bring this up. I'm sure he'll comment on it. But look, the amount of ridiculous circumstantial things that have happened to Matt Hayden when he makes a call I think will win a race to not win a broadcasted race is insane. At this point, he has still yet to win a race that I have broadcasted it, and this is across 2 leagues and 3 seasons of racing. And there have been multiple times he's been the fastest car or made at least a pit call that got him the win, that some insane circumstance would prevent him from doing so. It does so again tonight. You got to start thinking superstition at this point for the 5 car. Still a lot of race to go, though. 58 laps to go. Still plenty of opportunity. Velocity starts up front. Green flag back in the air. The closing stages at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now, my question, and we'll have to watch this over the next 20 laps, will somebody do that same thing, and will the field see it coming to be able to short pit with them? I wonder now if guys, are those same guys going to try it again? I mean, at this point, the amount of wear we saw on tires, really, your run doesn't change all that much. So realistically, you could see guys try it again, and they must have fixed whatever was wrong on Coitron, because he is all the way back up to 3rd now. Here comes Travis Everett. Excuse me, he's 4th, looking for 3rd on Coitron. Velocity leads the race with Irizarry back in 2nd. Eldred, Malarkey battle for 5th. Coitron trying to hold off Everett for 3rd. Greg Bourbonniere looking to get 7th from Andrew Little. Same with Curtis Preston. And then Matt Hayden sits 10th. Through turns 3 and 4, big break for Velocity. I think he's still the fastest car all around on the racetrack tonight. And a guy that really could use another win, kind of get back to championship form in the championship rounds. James Coitron, though, trouble towards the back of the field. And this one, I believe, involves Greg Bourbonniere, and it does. Oh, man. Tough break for the 0-0. A playoff driver, Curtis Preston, is involved as well in the 12. Caution flags back out, and that's not what you want to see if you were someone wanting to short pick, because that makes the run a little bit shorter. Let's see what happened to Greg Bourbonniere and Curtis Preston. As they went into turn number 1, they had some trouble. Let's see. Ooh, Bourbonniere coming down a little bit. Preston coming up a little bit. They meet in the middle. And Preston gets sandwiched to the outside wall. Bourbonniere noses in pretty hard, and Preston's going to back it in as well. Only a 2-car incident puts us back under the caution for the 4th time on lap 103. Go back, take another look. And you'll see it here if we go to this camera as well. Watch the 12 of Preston just cut right across the nose of Bourbonniere, as Bourbonniere's about a lane off the fence, and maybe Preston expected him to be just a little bit higher up than he actually ended up being. Let's look from above. We get a camera angle. Here we go. See him? Yeah, so Bourbonniere is about a lane off the wall there, and I think Curtis Preston, and especially if you're like me, you have to understand. And I'll go back. Let's go back one more angle, and I want to find an angle that kind of gives us a little bit more. This one will work. So, and I don't know for sure. I can't comment for everyone, but for me, if you're not on a triple monitor display, which is to say a middle monitor and then one on your left, one on your right, without hitting a button on your steering wheel, you can't see out your right side window. And for Curtis Preston there, I wonder if he's on one monitor or even if he's on 3, if he's just not looking that way. And you can't really see. It's kind of a blind spot. And where Bourbonniere lines up is actually on his door number, which is kind of a blind spot in this car anyway. So I wonder if Preston just thinks, okay, hey, he's out there, but he's up against the wall, and I can come all the way to the wall. And Bourbonniere's about a half lane to a full lane off the wall, where just Preston expected him to be higher. And Bourbonniere expected Preston, obviously, to just hold it down a lane underneath him, and they meet in the middle. It's a racing deal. It happens all the time. It happens in real life, too. It's a blind spot I think that's what happened there. Where, Bourbonier was, along with perhaps the display of Curtis Preston, like what he's running as a display, may have presented some issues. So, caution flag coming back out on lap 107. As we enter the night portion of this race, sun's been down for several laps now. Velocity continues to lead. Now we close in on a range where we could see someone gamble and stretch it on a fuel tank. And perhaps it's James Coytrone. Perhaps it's Justin Malarkey. Maybe it's Stephen Luttrell, who at this point I think has to win. Perhaps it's Christian Strader, who I think at this point has to win, although I think Strader's got raw speed. He can go up there and win it. Perhaps it's Rusty Modesty or Steve Potter or Greg Bourbonier. There's several drivers in this field, Brandon Beauchamp as well, that could benefit from trying to stretch this like Hunter Carlson did a few weeks ago at Kansas to steal away a win and perhaps get an upset bid here in the round of 8. Apologies, taking a quick drink there. The voice is not going out, but I certainly was starting to feel it after about 108 laps right there, pretty much nonstop. 52 to go. We go back green, closing stages of this one from Charlotte, our longest race distance-wise of the season. Velocity, Irizarry, the top 2. Then it's Coytrone and Eldred. Everett, Watkins, 5th and 6th. Christian Strader, Justin Malarkey, 7th and 8th. Then it's Curtis Preston in 9th. And I believe Matt Hayden came to pit road and grabbed himself a set of tires right there and is now running in 10th. Pace cars off. 52 laps to go at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Who will lock their way into the playoffs? Can anyone spoil the party for the top 8 in points? Green flag back in the air, and away we go towards turn number 1. Good start from Velocity allows Coytrone to drive up into the battle for 2nd. Everett will drive to the battle for 4th. Oh, Irizarry big time loose. Trouble out back with GT Irizarry. That's one of the playoff cars that goes sideways, and the caution is immediately back out for the 14. One of the dominant cars of the night is likely going to a fast repair here on lap 109 as something happened there going into turn 1. He got way out of shape. Wow, did he go straight to pit road? Oh, boy. Well, it's not going to be a season ender for GT Irizarry. What happened here? I'm not even sure what the best angle is to watch this from. He clearly gets loose here on the banking of 1 and 2, but then after that, I'm not sure what in the world went on inside this race car. He goes into 1. Does he get some contact from the 38, or does he just get loose? Oh, he just got loose. That car snapped. And then it went straight. And, oh, man, Watkins piles in the back of him and spins him around. And Irizarry goes head on to the outside wall and tows it straight to pit road. Again, likely not a season ender, as he was 22 points above the cut line. Actually, I think it was 26 points above the cut line. So, by far not a season ender. He will still make the postseason. He will still make the round of 8, but boy, I don't know what goes on after the spin. The car gets way tight, which is really odd. I might be able to see it here, I don't think, but look, it just goes straight. As slow as they were going, it's really weird. And Irizarry gets collected by Watkins. That's a big crash. Watch one more angle of it before we go back to live action. Several cars on pit road under this caution. Watch him right here. He just snaps. Loose. Whoa, wait a minute. That didn't even look natural. Hold on. No, that was netcode. Whoa. Okay, so that's an interesting look. I didn't notice that before. There was some netcode between, I think, the 14 and the 10. And you might be saying, well, how is there netcode we'll go on board with the 10 so I can kind of show you what I mean before we go back green. We got to get back green here in a second, but let's try to get, well, this isn't really going to tell you the whole story, but it might tell you some of it. Let's see here. Watch the 14 up ahead. Well, I don't know, because in real time, it does look like he snaps. Let's see here. Watch it back in slow motion. This first hook to the left just does not look natural to me. No, it's not. That's some kind of netcode from what it looks like to me. And we've been dealing with it over the last couple weeks where the service registers a car in a completely different position on the racetrack than where they actually are. And we're having wrecks because of it that look so weird. Because guys are just spinning when the guy's nowhere close to them, it's behind them. It appears like what has happened there. Excuse me, goodness, I can't even talk. It appears like that has happened. And he has gone right to pit road. I mean, I thought he could have driven it back. He is on pit road, and he is several laps down. So take away a really solid contender, and that's going to help John Velocity, but it also helps the guys around him, like Schrader, Everett, Watkins. They now have a better chance to win. That's a really tough break. Again, his season's not over. He got 4 stage points and was 26 points above the cut line. He was not going to be pointed out of tonight's race, regardless of where he finished. But still a tough break. You still want to take momentum into the round of 8. He's not going to do so tonight on something that's really just straight up not his fault. Green flag back in the air with 48 laps to go. We've entered a bit of a lull here in this middle portion of the race, but these guys will try to sort it out and get back to green flag racing for the final 48 laps of this one. Now we're really in range for someone to try to stretch this, and honestly, I kind of hope someone does. Everett trying to go to second. Watkins into the middle. They're going to be 3 wide around Strader. That's a precarious position for a must-win driver, but they sort it out. Everett trying for second. Watkins trying to get by both of them. Schrader trying to get by all these cars and go chase down Velocity for the win. How about the speed for Cody Eldred in the 10? Eldred drives the back bumper of the leader. Will he take a look here in the 3? Velocity to the line. Eldred stays in the middle. Watkins a lane higher. Schrader a lane higher than that. Fan 4 lanes across Charlotte Motor Speedway. Eldred to the right rear quarter panel. He wants to lead the race. He gets alongside Velocity. 46 to go. Eldred still a long way to go, but trying to take the lead away from the man who's been so dominant all night long. Now Eldred powers his way to the race lead. Watkins follows. Strader is there as well. The must-win drivers, Strader and Rusty Modesty as well, are at the front of the field in crunch time with 45 to go. Watkins to the inside, contact with Eldred. That's going to open the door here for Christian Strader. Ever to the outside, trying to go with Strader for third. Strader gets the position and now hunts the leaders in the banking of 1 and 2. Eldred on the outside. Watkins on the inside. Eldred takes the lead. Strader trying to follow him home from third. He'll get second down the back straightaway. Christian Strader tries to complete the run to the front. In 3, Strader to the fence. Watkins to the inside. Eldred down there as well. So is Velocity. Modesty up on the fence back there around the 6th position. Strader, the tires are not old enough yet to be running the wall, and Watkins gets back by him here for a second for the time being. Strader going to stay with it. Watkins, big dive to the inside, trying for the lead. He'll get second from Strader. He will not get the lead. Will Strader drive alongside him? Oh, Watkins tried to slam the door shut. Cars in the wall behind them. That's Coitron and Bourbonier. No mind. We keep it up front and keep it green. 44 laps to go. Watkins to the inside of Schrader. That's for second. Velocity holding on for dear life to fourth, but he's got cars all over his back bumper, including Matt Hayden, who's got new tires. So does Rusty Modesty. Oh, baby, we're in for a classic here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Watkins to the bottom. Now he'll go to the middle. Powers around Eldred. Strader's going to take it 3 wide. Strader walls it off 2 and still drives alongside the leaders. Watkins in the middle. Has the lead for the moment. Strader noses ahead here in 3 and 4, and it's a Donnybrook at the front of the field for the race lead. Watkins has it. Drives up. Will he get on the nose of Strader? He will. Strader follows him through to second. Modesty trying to get fourth as Hayden tries to get fifth. Crossover. Strader to the bottom. 2 turns 1 and 2. Strader for the race lead. He's got to win. Trying to get back to the race lead. The man he has battled so many times this season in Harold Watkins. The only 2 men with 2 or more wins in the entire field. Go 1-2. Modesty trying to get in the top 5. He has to win as well. Strader transitions down to the bottom, trying to chase down Harold Watkins for the race lead and potentially the win here at Charlotte. Back to the line. 41 laps to go. 120 goes on the board. Here we go into turn number 1. Watkins in the middle. Strader to the fence. Trying to get those old tires up and running. Not going to get as much of a drive off the wall, but he will get some exit speed. He'll drive to the back bumper of the race leader. Down to the inside, another run for the lead. Hayden going for 4th on Velocity out back as he'll look for 3rd on Eldred as well. Strader up alongside. Watkins pinches. Strader keeps the foot in the gas. They're going to make some contact. He runs him up the racetrack. Drag race to the start-finish line. 40 laps to go at Charlotte. It is a classic here under the lights. In the final race of round 1, Strader has to win. Watkins is already locked in. Strader keeps his foot down on the loud pedal. Down the back straightaway once again. Eldred, Velocity, Modesty, Hayden, they look on from 3rd on back as the battle for the lead continues. Strader crosses over. This time he goes to the fence. Watkins goes to the bottom. Strader will try to drive it off the hill. Velocity tries to drive underneath Cody Eldred for 3rd and come back up and join this battle as Hayden tries to get around Modesty. Strader back to the back bumper of Watkins. This is incredible here at the front of the field. Watkins goes high, blocks the 29, but how wise was that? Entry speed had been the strength for Watkins. Exit speed's been better for Strader. That time they break even. Strader still in the back bumper. Eldred still holding on to 3rd over Velocity. Crossover! Man, Strader left, right, left, trying to just get something to work. And Watkins continues to work that deep entry into turn number 1. Strader chased down now by Eldred. Will he help the 29 or will he pass the 29? 38 laps to go. Strader back to within a car length and a half, but that's as close as he's gotten. Harold Watkins goes to the fence, but stays a lane off of it this time. I don't know how wise that line is. Here comes Strader. He's going to be back to the back bumper, the leader, halfway down the back straightaway. 3 wide, almost for 3rd. Rusty Modesty pokes his nose through. Strader to the outside of Watkins, trying to get the lead. He'll cross back over. He'll run the bottom here in 3 and 4 and try to drive back up to the leader as Rusty Modesty has clean air. Another must-win car. 2 now must-win drivers behind the race leader, Watkins. Watkins on the outside. Strader drives it hard to the bottom. No pinch from Watkins this time. Strader with his lefts on the paint. Down the backstretch again, they will drag race. This is bringing Rusty Modesty right back into it. Travis Everett and Justin Malarkey watch on. Strader to the bottom this time. Modesty goes to the fence. Strader has been able to keep up with Watkins so far, but he just has not been able to make the pass. Off turn 4, 36 laps to go at the line. Strader chasing the Ghost Chevrolet of Harold Watkins, who tries to get win number 4. They both go to the fence. Watkins turns. Oh, wow. Strader turns off the wall. Much in the shades of Ross Chastain in the Coke 600. Strader trying to get up alongside Watkins. He's found something here down the back straightaway. Back to the back bumper. Modesty trying to hold on to 3rd as he enters the battle for the lead. Again, Watkins goes with that deep entry into turn 3. It might get Strader past, running the fence. Modesty looking for 2nd. He wants the win. He wants his season to continue. Must-win drivers for 2nd. Hayden there as well. He just wants a win to continue momentum. Modesty, big drive to the inside. He wants the race lead this time. Up off turn number 2, Modesty's going to throw the door shut on Strader right in his face. Hayden looking for 3rd on the 29. Will try to get 2 for 1 and 3 on the 6. 6 goes to the middle. 3 goes to the bottom. Big entry speed there for Harold Watkins. He's had it all run long and has it again here as he tries to run away from the battle behind him. Incredible stuff at the front of the field. Haymakers all the way around as Watkins tries to pull away and win. Modesty, Strader, both need to win the race, but they can't burn their stuff up chasing the 3 of Watkins. Hayden, Velocity are there as well. I think Velocity's had the best car. I think he's saving his car as well. And now he starts to drive away. Harold Watkins may have been saving a little bit of equipment as well because he is driving away. Harold Watkins trying to crush the dreams of the drivers behind him. My question is now, with only 33 laps to go, is do they have to pit again? Oh, Strader in the wall. That's... Oh, trouble! Modesty's going to get turned right in front of the field. Do they save it? No, they do not. Eldred in the outside wall. Hayden, Modesty goes sideways. The green flag is still out as cars spin to the inside of the racetrack. They're going to keep it green. And now the caution flag's out. Take a breath. Holy cow. I've got to take a drink. Oh. Exhilarating at the front of the field, but when you're throwing it all on the line, sometimes you can overstep, and I think, again, don't quote me on this, but I think that's what happens here between Hayden and Modesty. Oh, no, it's netcode. Oh. I mean, you want to talk about tough breaks. That's one right there. I thought we had this saved. Modesty actually saves it, but it's when he comes back down and kicks both their cars further to the right that this is going to go really badly. Eldred, nowhere to go for the 10. He gets airborne. As he collects a big piece of this. The 6 and the 5. Big damage on both of their cars. As both are going to come get fast repairs and get back out on the racetrack. We'll go up top. Man, that's a tough break. Oh, it's a ton of netcode. I mean, a huge amount of netcode. Oh, John Velocity. I didn't see that before. He punched in the center of that front end of the 84. The dominant car of the night has damage here as well. I didn't notice that the first time around, but very interesting that 84 appeared to me to have punched in the center of that front end. Let's take one more look from high above. Watch Velocity, the 84, the red, white, and blue car. Oh, yeah, he absolutely punched in the front end of that car, getting involved in this. Eldred, Hayden, and Modesty, though, they collect the brunt. This incident with inside of 35 laps to go. Well, folks, well, we did for a moment have our first strategy call of the race. Luttrell stayed out. Now that puts him, as they run, back to 14 points off the cut line, which technically is not going to be impossible. Well, no, it's pretty well impossible for him to get 14 points now. He has to win the race, but trying some things is the 36. Harold Watkins led the field off of pit road. It'll be Watkins, Little, Everett, Schrader, and Hayden, the top 5. Malarkey will be 5th. Then it's Matt Hayden, John Velocity, James Coytrone, Rusty Modesty, and Stephen Luttrell will be the last lead lap car. The last top 10 car. Cody Eldred, Greg Bourbonier on the lead lap. Cars that are at least 1 lap down. 2 1 lap down are Steve Potter and Curtis Preston. Brandon Beauchamp is 7 laps down. His season likely now is over as well. He'll need a miracle. And GT Irizarry and Mike Martino have retired from tonight's race in 16th and 17th. Again, Irizarry advances by virtue of his points. So he is still in the round of 8 despite the 16th place finish tonight. And Martino retires as well. All right, let's reset it for you. Christian Strader is 4th, and that time had the short run speed to hang with Harold Watkins in the 3. Now, if it gets into a long run, I don't know if the 29's got anything, but you got to throw elbows out here if you're Strader and be willing to do a little more to get to the lead. His only choice for a playoff berth next week is a win. Watkins is already locked in. Andrew Little is several points above the cut line, and Travis Everett is as well. Who's going to win it? 29 laps to go at Charlotte. Green flag back in the air, and it's a good restart for Watkins. A good restart for Little. Not a good one for Christian Strader, who now has to get up on his horse and try to get to the front. He's got to win to keep his season running after tonight when we go to Nashville next week. If he wants to be in the racing in the round of 8, he has got to go to victory lane. Oh, he's going to get the fence. Well, he did that earlier, and it worked for him. Why not again? He'll be outside of Malarkey. That's for fourth. He's got to make quick work of these guys because Watkins is starting to pull away immediately. Little second, Everett third, and Watkins sets sail as he found something here that the field has not found yet. And if that's the case, this race may very well be over in favor of Harold Watkins. Strader runs the fence. He's trying to get back around these guys that are in front of him. He's going to get Everett for third here off turn number 4, I think. Yep, he will get to the outside. He'll get the spot. By the time they get back into turn 1, he'll get some help from Justin Malarkey as well to get that position. Now, will he keep it here in turn 1 is the big question I have. He'll run the fence and get all the way around Everett and now close on the back bumper of Little. He'll cross over most likely here down the backstretch. He's got to make quick work. He goes to the inside. That's for second. And from there, he can now put the pressure on Harold Watkins. It's the battle we all thought we might get, but we didn't know for sure. Christian Strader has 26 laps to run down the points leader and win his way to the round of 8. Into turn 1. Watkins runs the bottom. Strader runs the top, but this time, Strader running a little bit harder on entry has allowed him to gain some time. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to get there. And now the question becomes the same as it was for Ross Chastain the other night in the Coca-Cola 600. How hard do you push it when you get there? He's going to have to pass Harold Watkins this time. Even if he gets passed back, he's got to go to the lead. Here it is. Down the front stretch, 25 to go. Christian Strader looking for the lead and a chance at a win. First look to the inside of Watkins. Can he drive to his left rear here off turn number 2? No. Watkins slams the door. Car in the wall further back. That's James Coitrone, and the yellow flag is out, and now it will be a short run to the end. Coitrone is the car in the wall, and this is significant for points because Justin Malarkey runs several points in front of him, and Steve Potter is back now on the lead lap, I believe. As virtue of the free pass car, this is going to be very interesting because now Coitrone is not a sure bet, especially with Strader running up front. It may be Malarkey racing Andrew Little for the final point spot. Andrew Little was only, as of the stage break, 15 points above Coitrone, who would be 9th if Strader wins. Or excuse me, actually, Little was even closer to Coitrone than that. He's only 11 points ahead. So, yeah, this is a big deal. Is Little and Malarkey now, or excuse me, it'll be Little, Malarkey, and Coitrone if Coitrone can get this fixed. But if Strader wins, it's those 3 cars for 2 spots. And really now Steve Potter could make things interesting as well. Let's go back and see what happened to Coitrone quickly here before we go back under the green flag. Oh, boy, he's already way out of shape. He was running inside the top 5. When going into turn 1, a little bit of net code again. Spins him sideways, and that is a monster hit to the outside wall. It knocks the wheel out of alignment there for the 38. As he gets sideways, and big damage for Coitrone. We'll take one more look at that net code, then we'll go back live to cover the strategy. And also the fact that we are getting to the point that this could be a short run, which I think favors Christian Strader should we get to that point. See Coitrone, he gets a little bit loose, and then a little bit of contact, maybe a little bit of net code, and Coitrone gets the brunt of that one, hammers the outside wall. And for a guy that needs as many points as he can get with Strader running second, that's not what he wanted to see right there. All right, let's set the stage for you one more time. It'll be 21 laps to go when we go back under the green flag. We haven't had a ton of experience in late race restarts. In fact, I can count on one hand the amount of races that have had a late race restart. And like a few of them have been super speedways. Daytona, I think, did. Or maybe, I don't even think Daytona did. Atlanta might have. Talladega might have. Rockingham did. But that was the Clash. It wasn't even a points race. I mean, we're talking about very few single-digit races that have had a run this short to the end. And again, I think tonight it favors Christian Strader because on a short run, he's the most aggressive man on track right now. He has to be. He has no choice. But I think he's also the fastest on a short run. And John Velocity, Matt Hayden, Travis Everett, they all have fast cars. Watkins is as well. But to me, I mean, it's the desperation factor for Strader that I've talked about it all night long. The situation is, if he wins, he's in. If he does not, he's out. Second place is not good enough. And for a driver, the desperation tends to pick up just a little bit in positions like this. Now, he's got to get a good restart. I still think he was already run down Watkins right there under green. But if he gets a good restart, I think he can take the lead by the time they get to 3. And if he's able to get to the race lead, it's going to be awfully hard for him to relinquish it. I imagine he would take some liberties out front. Nothing dirty, but enough to go to victory lane where he needs to be. When we get to the checkered flag, it is 21 laps away. Make or break for Christian Strader. Green flag back in the air. He does not get a good launch. Watkins has been the king of restarts all season. He gets another big one right there. Strader will now have to fight with Little, who will have the better turn on the inside of turn number 1. Strader's got to stay on his right rear. He's got to get second at least. He will do so. And now they'll be full song just about headed into 3, and Strader should be able to make pretty quick work of Andrew Little in second. And looks like it's going to take him another corner, but he will drive what looks to be past him. Well, I thought so. Maybe not. Going to take him another corner. It's a little push down the front stretch from Malarkey. That'll help him. Watkins to the fence. Strader to the fence. And Strader's going to be clear, I think, of the 68 when they come off turn number 2. Maybe a brush with the wall, maybe not. And ladies and gentlemen, the stage is set. Harold Watkins is in. There is nothing for the Ghost Chevrolet to race for tonight except another win in the win column. For Strader, he absolutely must drive down the 3 and pass him to win. And he's got 19 laps to do it. Both go to the wall here in turn 1. Again, dirty air not as much of a factor at Charlotte Motor Speedway in this race car, the virtual race car, as it is in the real-life next-gen car. So Strader will be able to run the fence and really not feel much of the effects. And same thing here down in turns 3 and 4. He'll be able to run the bottom and not be able to feel the dirty air wake effects. He'll be able to drive right back up to the 3. Now, when he gets right on him is when it gets the worst in terms of dirty air. He's there, and it's on for the battle for the lead and potentially for a spot in the round of 8. He dives to the inside. Again, another lunge. He'll try to get to the left rear quarter panel. Not quite here off turn number 2, but he'll get right to the back bumper. Andrew Little in the outside wall. Beauchamp in the wall further back. Strader now plots his attack on the 3. Goes a lane higher. Watkins able to enter higher, but Strader will arc the corner and try to drive to his back bumper. Not able to. They break even here off turn number 2 as Watkins has hit the go button now as well. Strader going to have to go win it on raw speed. Justin Malarkey's entered this race as well. A bit of a wild card. I don't know if anybody expected Malarkey to be in this position. He could win and secure his spot and not have to worry about any points. Strader to the back bumper. It's mano y mano. It's 1 and 2 in the points in the raw point standings. Going for the lead here at Charlotte with 17 to go. Oh, Watkins runs that bottom lane. He's so good on entry. He's been so good all year at the 1.5 miles on entry and drives away from Christian Strader. Strader's going to have to follow him in order to get past him. Back into 1. They both run the fence. This is where Strader's really good because Watkins not quite as good on the wall as Strader is. Malarkey challenges for second. Nobody home. John Velocity has made it into this battle as well, trying to play complete spoiler. Strader going to have to follow him, I think. I don't know if you can run higher and get to the lead. And again, it's Watkins' entry speed that's better. Can Strader gain any on exit? No, they break even. He's got to do something different. The fence is not working in 3 and 4 because Watkins is so good on the bottom. The fence is working down here in 1 and 2. Watkins, big lift. Strader to the inside, trying to pounce. But caution flag. And again, a crash. I'm not sure. Oh, boy. Several cars down here in turns 1 and 2. Curtis Preston, Travis Everett. And, oh, they were 3 wide. Travis Everett was going for the 5th spot with Rusty Modesty and Andrew Little, and this ends up being pretty big. Through the trial or the quad oval. Ooh, contact between the 68 and the 6. They come down and get Travis Everett, and he just overcorrects, comes right back up. Nowhere to go for Curtis Preston. Big hit to the outside wall for the 12. He's going to take the 13 in there with him. A big crash there, inside of 15 to go. You'll see the contact here. Let's see if we see it on this angle. You're going to see him, I think, bang doors right here. Let's see, going out of the quad oval. Watch this second hit right here. I think, well, I thought they hit. But no, Modesty just turns down the racetrack trying to go set up for the corner and doesn't realize Everett is right on his door and kind of punts him to the left. Everett comes back up, gets Preston. They narrowly avoid Matt Hayden. And a big hit there for Everett and Coytrone, Everett and Preston as both get the outside safer barrier. Take one more look from up top, and then we'll get ready to go back green for what should be this is a make or break restart for several drivers in the field, but we'll get you updated on that in a moment. As we take one more look at this. Ooh, big hit for Preston. The right front wheel comes off. Everett gets a little bit of damage as well. And we are going to set up for a late race restart. Inside of 15 to go. If you're Christian Strader, I know you don't want to launch early and get a penalty when you go before the leader, but you've got to time this one better. I've said this throughout the season with Watkins. He's so good at timing these starts when he's the leader. You have got to get a better start. If you're Christian Strader here, you've got to go right when the 3-car does. If you don't get him in the first 2 laps, I'm not sure he will. Right there, he was never able to get to the left rear quarter panel or the right rear quarter panel of Watkins at any point. You've got to get a better launch and be alongside him. That's your only guarantee, I think, on this run that you're going to get back to him and get a chance. And if you're Christian Strader, you have no options. Let's set the stage for you if you're just joining us. Challenger Cup Series playoff racing from Charlotte Motor Speedway, race 2 of the round of 16, the cutoff race. Here is the situation. Harold Watkins running first. He is locked in by virtue of his win last week in North Wilkesboro. Christian Strader is 21 points below the cut line. With only 17 cars in the field, that is not nearly enough points that he can make up. To make it on points, he will have to win this race the hard way. So he has to go to victory lane. Row 2, John Velocity, locked in the playoffs. He's 18 points above the cut line, has been the dominant car of the night. Justin Malarkey is 8 points above the cut line and is not 100% locked in, although James Coytrone runs back in the 9th, make it 10th position. So we'll have to just kind of hold off, wait and see there. Row 3, Rusty Modesty, must-win position. He has to win this race. Andrew Little locked in by virtue of a 16-point gap. He's pretty well good and locked in should this race finish with Watkins as the winner. Row 4, Hayden's locked in with his points. Greg Bourbonier, he's also, I believe, now in a what appears to be a must-win position, 11 points below the cut line. Further back from there, Steve Potter, if he gains a few positions on James Coytrone, 5 to be exact, 6, he's got to finish 6 spots in front of Coytrone, and hope Strader does not win this race. Green flag back in the air, and away we go towards turn number 1, and it's another really good launch for Harold Watkins. This time, Strader will face a challenge from Velocity on the inside, and that's not what Strader wanted to see because Velocity's a really good car on a short and a long run. Strader's got to clear him here. Strader's been a better short run car, but now he's got to go to work against a guy that's been really fast all night. Coming back 10 laps to go. Strader trying to get to a must-win position, but loses ground that time. A really, really rough 3 and 4, and Strader is seeing it fade here with 10 laps to go. Velocity to 2nd, Malarkey to 3rd, Modesty trying to follow through to 4th. Strader losing time on the outside. Malarkey looking on the outside. Slams the door on Strader. Modesty to the inside. That's for 3rd. Will not get it. Strader back to the inside. Crosses over on Malarkey. He's got a really good short run car, and he's got to use it right here with 10 laps to go. Has to lift on the bumper of the 84. Will be side by side with Malarkey. And now Velocity. If you're Strader, you got to hope Velocity and Watkins rough up a little bit here and give you a chance to get back in this. Velocity to the bottom, all the way to the line, to the inside of Watkins. Trying here to get to the inside and get the win that, quite frankly, he probably deserves to get. Strader's back to 4th. Now he's back to 5th. Nowhere even close. Modesty now the closest must-win car. Through 3 and 4, once again, 9 laps to go. Strader goes back to the fence. It's fading from him before his eyes. He's 8/10 behind the leaders. Now he's getting passed for 5th. He gets in line behind Rusty Modesty, but not a lot of laps left to go do it. Velocity to the outside. Strader on the wall, just trying to haul as much as he can and get this time back. And Watkins, this actually might benefit Strader because Watkins is going to have to start to pay attention here to John Velocity, who battles him for the win. But Strader's got to make really quick work of this. Watkins, good drive through 3 and 4, but Velocity's right on his bumper. Coming back, 7 laps to go at Charlotte. Modesty and Strader not quite close enough yet. Strader trying to force his way to the outside of Modesty. Will do so here into turns 3 and 4. Or excuse me, 1 and 2. Velocity to the inside for the race lead. Strader on the fence trying to make something happen. He might get there, but he's got to go quickly. He's back up to 4th. He's behind Malarkey. Blocked by Watkins halfway down the back straightaway on Velocity. Big block. That's going to allow Strader to get a nice exit here off turn 4 and set up to try to go run these guys down. He's half a second back. 6 laps to go. Top 3 under a blanket. 4th place, Strader is coming. So is Modesty. They've got to make it happen here. Strader back to 4/10 behind the leaders. Battle for the lead down the backstretch. This is helping the 29 with these two side by side. Strader's got to make it happen, and if these guys stay side by side, which it appears they will, Strader's going to get there. Malarkey's there as well. Where do you go if you're Justin Malarkey? He's going to look 3 wide. Malarkey goes to the bottom of 3 wide for the lead. The leader's in the fence. Strader all the way. Oh, trouble. Velocity gets crashed into the outside wall. We keep it green. Everybody keeps it straight. Strader now in a position. So is Rusty Modesty. The must-win drivers are at the front. Watkins has been collected in the crash. Strader's got to make it happen. 5 laps to go. Strader goes to the fence. Malarkey goes to the middle. Modesty follows to the outside. It's for the race lead off turn number 4. Strader, he's got to keep it out of the wall. Here coming back. 4 laps to go, and Strader is your leader, but Modesty is right there as well. So is Matt Hayden. Matt Hayden's not out of this yet either. Strader on the fence, going to try to start to drive away. Malarkey going to slam the door on his nose. Strader's going to cross over here. He's going to have to down into 3 and 4. Has to make the move. Does. To the inside comes the Reese's Mustang Dark Horse, looking for the lead, trying to get a victory. Modesty goes to the fence. He may have a better run than both of them. They're going to bang doors here off turn 4. Strader, Malarkey, 3 more circuits around Charlotte Motor Speedway. I think Strader's better. I really do think Strader's the better car. He's just got to get a better corner. Modesty, Hayden battle for 3rd. Modesty trying to catch the leaders. Malarkey, will he throw the door shut on Strader again? He will. Strader, will he cross to the bottom? He'll have to, I would think. Or will he try to go to the fence? It's his better line. Dives to the inside. Here comes Strader again. Got a better arc in the corner that time by diving out of line to arc into the corner. Now he'll drive alongside Malarkey again. Coming back, they get popsicle sticks from Barney the Flagman. 2 laps to go. Strader, he'll have to drag race his way to a victory. Modesty back to 5th seems to be a non-factor. Cody Eldred has worked his way to this battle as well. Malarkey pinches down. Strader's going to have to shut the door on the 10 car on the outside. Strader to the outside. Eldred on the inside. Matt Hayden's up to 3rd and has a push from Rusty Modesty. Strader goes to the fence. When they come back, they will see the white flag, and this race will be official. Eldred looks for 2nd on Strader. Does he have anything left for the race leader? White flag is up. 1 lap to go at Charlotte. Strader, you got to hang it all out here if you're going to get to him. You have got to hang it out, have a really good 1 and 2. He pins it to the fence. Can Strader get a good enough run off turn number 2? He's going to try, but he's alongside Eldred. I don't know if he's going to have enough of a drive. Malarkey's throwing blocks left. He blocks right. Strader, does he go to the fence? He'll try to pin it. He'll try to get to the outside. He's going to pin it to the wall. Can he get to him off of turn 4? He will not. Justin Malarkey survives and wins at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the best race of the season by far. And if you don't like that, you don't have a pulse. Incredible. Nothing short of it. Justin Malarkey coming into tonight was 8 points clear of the cut line. was not a sure bet to get in. He won earlier in the season. Oh, I'm not sure that was friendly from John Velocity there. We're going to go back and watch the crash, first of all, that took out the 84 and the 3. After I catch my breath for a couple minutes here, that was unbelievable stuff. I mean, it's storylines galore. Malarkey wasn't even able to burn out. His car was destroyed. It was storylines galore there on the front stretch, even just in the last 5 laps. Strader had 2 good looks at the lead and could not get it either time. We'll go through the playoff field later after we do finishing results. We'll go through the playoff field, and then, of course, we'll get our interviews. But let's go back and watch this incident first. And I got to try to find it. Trying to figure out the best way, because it's not even listed on here that those 2 guys crashed. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to go back and show you what happened. Now, we saw what just happened after the race. I mean, I'm willing to bet that was not particularly positive, shall we say. We're going back. I want to see what happened between these 2 leaders, because I mean, these were the 2 cars I thought were going to decide their race. And well, I mean, we saw the 3-wide move. Now let's see if I missed something here. When they go into turn 1, does Malarkey throw them both in the fence? Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, look, and you know, you're like, why are you laughing? And, you know, it's a wreck. Why is the broadcaster laughing? The broadcaster's a driver too, and I mean, look, look. Here's the thing. There are going to be people out there, and John Velocity is probably one of them. We saw his post-race reaction, and I'm positive that this is why. Look, this move is not great. And it's this. It's this right here. That. And really, the problem is, I'm going to, and look, for those that are going to say, yeah, that's a little bit dirty to get the lead, sure. But with 5 laps to go in a stock car race, you're going for it. And for Justin Malarkey there, he's going for the lead. If he does not hold that line straight and just try to drive as straight as he can to the corner, he's going in the grass. And I know it's turf, but you still lose speed. You scrub the lefts in the grass, you lose speed, you probably lose the race. He knows he has to get it done right there. When they all come together, there is about another lane or so of room. But Malarkey shoves the 84 to the right just a little and alters these guys' corner entry going into turn 1 such to the... Oh, actually, I wonder if Velocity was mad about the first hit. Because the first time he got him in the left rear. I wonder if he was a little more upset about that. But he has to alter... He alters their corner entry, their speed enough that quad oval in Charlotte, if you alter your arc around that corner, if you don't hit it, you go in the outside wall, and that's what happened to Watkins, and it gets both of those cars. Malarkey goes on, drives away, and wins the race. And, I mean, let's just rewatch this white flag lap as well, as I'm going to see if it loads here. So the white flag was up, and Justin Malarkey, I mean, this is about a masterclass in blocking, taking away lines. Strader, I thought was going to be able to get on the outside. I think his tires were a little too old there on that last run to truly get anything done. I thought he would throw it to the bottom and move him. He didn't. He goes to the fence, which I kind of expected. He pinned it to the wall, and the wall did not help him as much as it had earlier in the race. Eldred drives through for second in a fantastic finish, but also a fantastic race. I mean, this was unbelievable. Let's get your finishing results. We'll talk about the playoff field, and then we'll do post-race interviews first, and then we'll talk about the updated playoff field, which actually it appears is not going to change very much from what we had on our graphic. Justin Malarkey steals away a win at Charlotte. His second win of the season is going to fully lock him into the round of 8. Cody Eldred, what a run for him in his one-off start. He'll go second. It was not enough for Christian Schrader in the 29. Boy, he tried, but unfortunately for him, not quite enough to get the job done on the final lap. He finishes third. His season is over. One of the most dominant drivers of the season. The dangers of missing a race. He misses one, and his season ends. Matt Aiden, he's on to the round of 8. A fourth-place finish for the 5 car. It's Rusty Modesty that goes fifth. His season ends as well, 16th in points. Travis Everett will move on to next week with a 6th-place finish. Stephen Luttrell, his season unfortunately ends as well here tonight in Charlotte with a 7th-place finish, I believe. Now, I will double-check that real quick. Malarkey won. Coitrone finished a few spots behind him, and it was not quite enough. He's going to come about 10 points short, so Luttrell's season ends as well. Andrew Little is racing next week in the round of 8 with an 8th-place finish. So too is John Velocity with a 9th-place finish, and Greg Bourbonier, his season ends tonight as well with a 10th-place finish. Steve Potter comes up a couple points short. He'll finish 11th tonight. James Coitrone, he held with it all night, hung with it, and gets into the round of 8. The final car in on points is James Coitrone in 12th. Harold Watkins finishes 13th tonight. The points leader led some laps, does not get the victory, gets involved in that crash late with John Velocity and Justin Malarkey. Brandon Beauchamp, his season ends in the round of 16 in a 14th place finish. Curtis Preston, a really good run, went sour towards the end tonight in 15th. GT Irizarry will be racing next week in the round of 8. He finishes in 16th. And Mike Martino goes 17th tonight to round out a 17-car field. Well, on to post-race interviews now. Let's talk to the top 3 drivers, and it's going to be really unfortunate here for the first one. Christian Schrader, just not quite enough steam under the tires to get him to a win, which is what he needed. He had looks, he had chances. It just didn't go his way. His season ends tonight. We'll see what he's got to say. Christian Schrader comes home with a 3rd-place finish. Christian, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Dawson, how you doing?
Well, not too bad. Look, this is a heartbreaker, obviously, for you coming into tonight. 21 points out of the playoffs. You needed to win. You had chances on 3 different restarts and come up just short. Is there anything else you could have done on the last restart to pass the 73 of Justin Malarkey, or is that just kind of how the cookies crumbled? Were the tires starting to go away underneath your race car?
I feel like the big part was I kind of needed to figure out just something a little bit better in 3 and 4. The tires started to go away, and I don't know. Justin was quick. Probably should have tried to run him down in the corner instead of running the fence as much in some of these corners. But it is what it is. We'll move on to next week. Try to win another race and see how it goes.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And, now towards the end of the season, obviously no longer racing for a championship, but I got to imagine there's still some benefits here. The last 3 weeks of the season, like what can you take from these weeks coming up? And, what can you do to build for next season for another championship run?
I mean, I just kind of feel like it's a good chance to kind of right the ship. The last few weeks kind of been in and out with, bad luck, over driving, just kind of getting myself put in bad spots and making mistakes. So I feel like it's a good chance to kind of get things corrected, just build a little confidence going into the next season and see if we can find a little speed, maybe pick up a victory.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to it. A 3rd-place finish for you tonight, but regardless, a heck of a drive throughout tonight's race. So before we let you go, anybody you would like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just thank you to Rusty and Matt and Andrew for putting everything together, for you coming out and doing the broadcasts, and just everybody that watches and tunes in every week.
Well, and thank you for talking to me for a second. Congrats on the 3rd-place finish. Go enjoy it as much as you can. Go celebrate. We will talk to you next week in Nashville.
Yeah, hopefully I'll see you next week.
Christian Schrader, more positive, trying to stay positive after his season ends tonight. Several chances. You heard him talking about what he could have done differently there to get back to Justin Malarkey and have a chance at the win or keep the lead when he had it for a moment. We'll talk next to the man who finished second, a where did he come from kind of moment for me. I was so focused on Strader and Malarkey and Velocity and Hayden and Modesty and all those guys at the front that Cody Eldred kind of just lurked. And nearly, if he had one more lap, he might have won this race in a one-off start this season. We'll see what he's got to say about his second place finish tonight in Charlotte. Cody, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You get a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Well, a good run for you tonight. We haven't seen you a ton this season in the Challenger Cup Series, but you show out tonight, and boy, what a run for you. Run up front a lot, led a couple laps, got close at the end. I think if you had 2 more laps, we're probably talking to you in victory lane. Nonetheless, second place finish, look, all this calamity's going on at the front. You know there's guys racing for points at the front. You know there's guys that have to win. As a non-playoff guy, you're not involved in any of this. What is your mindset like? What is it like inside the car? You know these guys are going to throw big moves around you. Kind of, how do you navigate that as a guy that's not really racing for points here tonight?
Honestly, I had no idea it was a playoff race, so I just raced my race and tried not to get into anybody. I got into one big incident, used my fast repair, got a little damage avoiding another one. That last pit stop with 14 to go, I think it was, I cleaned up all my damage. I think I had the freshest tires, and I just hauled ass trying to get up there. Yeah, two more laps, I probably would have had it, but it was a hell of a show. I like running with these guys. I ran with these guys on that Thursday league. But yeah, it's a good, clean group of guys. I just had a window in between bottle feedings. I have a newborn. That's why you haven't seen me around. But yeah, I try and make the time when I can.
Well, definitely, good to see you here nonetheless. And now as we go forward, when's the next time we can expect to see the 10 car on the racetrack? And what can we expect from you next time we see you out here on Tuesday night?
I have no idea. I'm just playing it by ear at this moment, flying by the seat of my pants.
Well, a second place finish for you. We heard you say it was a hell of a show, and look, it was for me up here, and certainly a lot of fun. I hope it was as fun for you guys as well. And before we let you go, second place finish, kind of a one-off start. It's a good run for you. Led some laps, like I said. An overall good night. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to who colored the car. Old School's Coins, Fraternal Outdoors Podcast, Find a Way Outdoors, they make turkey calls, Narrow Escape Motorsports, sell safety equipment for racing, and you and the league that puts this show on for us.
Well, thank you for talking to me for a second. Congrats on the second place finish. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll talk to you next time you're out here with us on a Tuesday for the Challenger Cup Series.
All right. Thank you, man.
Cody Eldred, the man in second position. That's going to lead us to the man in victory lane. And with the move that will be appreciated by some, will be not appreciated by certain others. And we're going to talk about that move. We're going to talk about going forward as well. A win locks him in. He was going to be in anyway, but a win certainly helps. Here, get him into the round of 8 and now improve his position starting next week in Nashville. It's Justin Malarkey in Challenger Cup Series victory lane. Justin, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Sorry, Dawson, had you on mute there. How are you?
No worries. Look, I'm good. It's certainly a fun show for me, and I got to think this is a pretty exhilarating win for you, too. I mean, this race had everything possible. We had guys go from the front to the back, from the back to the front, comers, goers, crashes, chaos, points, scenarios, must win. We had everything you could want. I got to ask you about it. Inside of 5 laps to go, John Velocity, Harold Watkins battle for the lead. You see a window, you take a window. There's a bit of an incident. Take me through it from your perspective. What happened between you and the 84 and the 3 going into turn number 1 that allowed you to take the lead?
Yeah, I watched the replay a bunch of times because I didn't even knew live. I call it like it is, Dawson. I didn't think I did one thing wrong. I made a move to come out of the corner slower, significantly slower. I make the move. I put my left side tires on the blue line, my left rear tire on the blue line, barely even on the blue line. Stay in my lane the whole time through the start-finish line. Stay on the blue line again on the next dog leg. The 3 comes down, hits the 84. They both slide up into the wall a little bit. 3 pounds the wall up there. I made the move, but I held my line. Those 2 bounced off each other, and then they want to clown me under the last 5 laps. It's just immature. Go back to Kansas, and I watched that race a bunch of times. I was on the outside of that 3. He drives off into 1 and 2, slides up in front of me. I lift, I 100% out of the throttle, watch the replay a bunch of times. I lift, get myself into the wall, cut him slack. You know, I mean, I cut people slack all the time. You go to any league, that's the first thing people say. I pretty much race people clean. I'm not going to give myself up and not go for the win because they come out of the corner bouncing off each other. My car was great. I worked on it all night. I was changing the brake bias, changing the settings under there with the fuel. Car finally came to life and what I needed on that second stage and the final stage. I have nothing to apologize except to myself for even doubting that I did something wrong.
Well, obviously, you know, going forward now, you know, not really a ton of tracks coming up where I would expect this per se, but I will ask about it nonetheless, knowing those guys are upset. We saw John Velocity after the race. I mean, he was very obviously upset, but not a ton of tracks coming up where I would expect this. But even, you know, bleeding into the next weeks after even this championship run ends, do you expect retaliation from the 3 of the 84? You know, what is your feeling there? Are you going to be looking for it here as the playoffs continue into the round of 8?
Yeah, Dawson, you know, honestly, I have not a clue. I don't really even know them well enough. I think everyone in this league seems like they were pretty cool. I guess maybe these are the two big shots that maybe they race a lot on iRacing. I'm not sure. I put my kids to bed and I come down here and I hope I make it in time. That's pretty much how I go. I sometimes not even sure what track we're at. I just come down here to try and have fun, race people clean. I made a move. I'm not going to not give up the win to let those two side by side and go slower than me. I had a huge run. I ran them down. I was a half a second behind them and ran them down. I mean, yeah, if they want to do that, I mean, I'm trying to celebrate my win and they're wrecking me. I mean, that's, you know, immature. You know, that's how it goes. I got 14 other people out here that maybe like me. Maybe I don't come here enough for them to like me. I guess those two want to take sides. They should be mad at each other. They should give each other more room. They had a choice to make, and, you know, they have to see me coming. I mean, they know they came out of the corner 14 miles an hour slower than me.
Well, look, you know, nonetheless, regardless, you're in victory lane now. The race is over. Obviously, you know, going forward now, the win's going to stand. So you were going to be in the playoffs regardless. You were on the cut line last week, but certainly a win. I mean, that's the best way to guarantee that you're going to make the round of 8. Now we look forward. Nashville next week, Michigan the week after that, the round of 8. What's the confidence level? What's the game plan for you to try to make your way into the championship 4 at Pocono in 3 weeks' time?
Yeah, Pocono would be great to get to. That's always a fun track at the end. Nashville, we'll see. Hopefully apply some what I learned here tonight. Felt like worked on the car a little bit. Some of the default settings that I usually run, starting to play around with them a little more and feeling like we found some speed. I felt like I had the speed of Kansas, and that just didn't work out that way. It seemed like it carried over tonight. It just took about 50 laps to figure it out. I not really wanted to qualify well ever. So if we could get that taken care of, maybe start inside the top 7 and stay up there in the first few laps, that would be beneficial. But we'll see how it goes. It's a fun league. I always appreciate you putting it on. I think you're a fantastic broadcaster, and it's just the way you do it all up there yourself is impressive, and it's always fun to watch. So shout out to you again for doing that.
Well, absolutely. Certainly made easier when the racing is how it is tonight. Look, you're in victory lane. You get a win. You're racing still. Your season is still on, and you're going to be racing in the round of 8 starting next week in Nashville. So before we let you go, you're in victory lane. You got an opportunity. I want to give you a chance. Any thank you, shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, I wish I got to do a little bit more burnout, but chose to just get out of the car and not deal with all that. Shout out to everyone watching. I know we had quite a few people. I have an uncle who came in from California, made the trip from the West Coast to the East Coast. He's hanging out with my dad right now. My brother's watching, sister, parents. Hopefully they enjoyed the race. I'm sure it had to be a fun one, and that's how all these races come down to. The last 5 laps, and you got to make moves. And again, I think that they can go back and watch the replay, and I mean, it is what it is.
Well, certainly appreciate you talking to me here for a second. Congratulations on the victory, and you keep your season alive for at least 2 more weeks. We'll see you next week at Nashville for the round of 8.
Take care. You have a great night.
Boy, folks, I don't know how to follow that one up. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. And, you know, look, I kind of commented on it already. We'll bring up our post-race graphic here and kind of get into post-race coverage. And I'll also give you the playoff field as well. Before we do that, though, I do want to comment on it because, you know, he mentioned he thinks he didn't do anything wrong. And look, I will fully understand, and we've seen it already. We saw it in the post-race right there. We've seen it in some of the comments here after the race that, look, if you're, and this would be me too, I'll be fully honest. Again, I'm a driver. I understand. I've been in that position. I've been on both ends of this. So I understand the frustration. And if I was in the position of Harold Watkins and John Velasquez especially, John Velasquez led a lot of laps tonight. I mean, a lot of laps. I thought he was the best car. I thought Harold Watkins late in the race was probably the best car. And it outrun several short-run race starts. So if you're in the position of one of those drivers, of course, if you end up in an incident that takes you out of the race, I get it. I understand the frustration completely. And I feel like the frustration in and of itself is justified because it's the heat of battle. And both those guys are in the playoffs. Their season is not over. So for one degree, you'd be like, well, okay, why are they so frustrated? Well, ladies and gentlemen, racers want to win. And those guys wanted to win. So the frustration from that perspective, I understand. But when you go back and watch the replay, the words of Justin Malarkey, I feel like ring somewhat true. He felt that he did what he had to do to put himself in a position to win the race. And when you go watch the replay, I am generally in agreement. Now, you can go back and look at some of the still frames, and I've seen a couple of them already where the lefts are in the turf, and I get that. The lefts are just below the blue paint. And you heard Justin just a moment ago say his lefts were on the blue paint. They are a little bit below it, but for the most part, he held his line through the second portion of that dogleg. Now, I think what John Velasquez is more frustrated about is the first hit, and that was in the first part of the trial. And I mentioned that when we watched the replay. I wondered if he was more mad about the first hit, where I didn't quite think the 73 was there. But by the time they're 3 wide, he does not come up off the blue paint. They are 3 wide, and it's 5 laps to go in a race. Racers want to win. Some guys are going to be frustrated. Some guys are going to come out on the other end and end up winning the race. Now, for Malarkey's sake, he at least is glad enough to win the race, because if he had done that and hadn't won the race, then really would not have panned out well for the driver of the 73 in terms of any future action. Now, with those two guys both in the playoffs, I don't think there will be any further action in terms of directly retaliating for that incident, but the frustration to me at the end of the race was just a little bit warranted. All right, playoff racing continues next week in Nashville. Let's give you the round of 8 field in the Challenger Cup Series that will be racing next week in Nashville. These are the 8 drivers that are eligible for the Challenger Cup Series Championship. Harold Watkins, by virtue of 3 wins and a win at North Wilkesboro, he'll advance on to the round of 8 by a comfortable margin. Matt Hayden will advance to the next round as well with a 38-point final cushion over the cut line. John Velasquez will be 3rd in points going into next week, as he will advance into the round of 8 as well. The 14 of GT Irizarry, a bad finish tonight. Nonetheless, he will be racing next week and continue his run for a championship. Travis Everett's had a good second half of the season, as he has come on strong over the last several weeks, and he will race next week as well in the round of 8. Tonight's winner, Justin Malarkey, will race next week as well in the 6th seed. Andrew Little will come home tonight with the 7th seed, but really only about 15 points behind the second guy in points, and only 8 points behind third. Andrew Little leaves tonight with the 7th seed, and he will race next week for a championship. And James Coytrone, boy, he labored it at times tonight, had top 5 speed, kind of went away later in the race. He'll do just enough with Strader not coming up with the win. He'll be the final car in the round of 8 starting next week in Nashville. Here are the 8 drivers that are out once again. Steve Potter, Stephen Luttrell, Greg Bourbonnier, Christian Schrader, Brandon Beauchamp, Rusty Modesty, Jimmy Fitzmaurice, and Hunter Carlson are all out. Their seasons are over as of tonight. 8 drivers advance. We're on to the round of 8 in the playoffs, and it starts next week in the Music City, Nashville, where the Nashville Super Speedway next Tuesday night about 8:40 p.m. You're on PGR eSports Network. I want to thank everybody for coming out and watching. Head on over to our channel. RMR, Ron Morris Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder Series is underway with Michael Triscaro and Ron Morris on the call. Go over and check those guys out. Super Speedway events for you over there on the main part of the channel. In a couple days, tomorrow night, Roughneck Racing's Money Madness Series. Michael Triscaro will have the call for you on PGR eSports as well for the Wednesday Night Championship Series. Thursday night, the PGR eSports Intimidator Super Speedway Series returns for another race this week. And I'm pulling it up here. This week we'll be headed to Talladega once again with a Gen 6 Cup car, which we saw a nice fun race in the VRX Light Series last week. That will be the Thursday night event, and that will be a fun one as well. And then we're back on Monday for the VRX Light Series playoffs, the round of 8. It will come down to just a few drivers racing for a championship in the Light Series next week. That's coming down to it. You don't want to miss it. The Light Series has been electric action. Landon Velicki will be on the call. I'll probably be there as well. as Trevor Osmanoff. That'll be a lot of fun. We're back next Tuesday from Nashville. And boy, if you did not like tonight, you are not a race fan. Tonight, by far the best race of the season. Drama, chaos, action, crashes, late passes, drama. Drivers mad at each other. We had everything we could possibly want out of a race tonight here in Charlotte. It was awesome. I enjoyed it so much, and I'm sure the drivers did too. Hope you did as well. Thank you so much for coming out, spending your Tuesday night with me. I hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. We'll see you next week from Nashville Super Speedway. My name is Dawson Wise. You've been watching PGR eSports in the Challenger Cup Series. Justin Malarkey wins at Charlotte and walks his way into the round of 8 starting next week in Nashville. Until next time, we'll see